We are mucus free. We are mucus free. We are mucus free. We are mucus free. We are mucus free.
The anthem.
What's going on, brothers and sisters? Welcome to the Mucus-free Life podcast Meetup edition. And we are gonna have some fun today. Do things a little different. It's been a while since we've had one of these live meetups, so I thought I would invite a few friends and see if we can have a fruitful discussion about the Mucusless Diet Healing System and the mucus-free lifestyle. So let's get right to it. Let's meet these beautiful brothers and sisters in here that's joining us today. And first, let's talk with Dani. Did you introduce yourself to the community and kind of tell everybody how you got here?
Oh man! All right, so I'm Dani. I go kind of by Dani Lucky. I picked up the Lucky from my dog that I had when I was little, and I just kind of stuck then my given name. The mucusless life. Let's see. I lived quite the opposite. Just like a quick introduction.
The quick one.
All right. Yeah. So I was listening to the Everyday Detox podcast about 2 years ago, and Mike Perrine mentioned Arnold Ehret, and I was really digging a lot of things he was saying on the podcast. He mentioned Arnold Ehret, some other books, and I should order this book, I thought. So I just went online, ordered the Mucusless Diet book, and that was about a year and a half ago. And I was just immediately fell in love with the whole thing. It all made sense, and I just been on my transition way. And then until I found you guys and the Brother Air and Professor Spira and everybody, and Q reached out to me, and now I'm like, I have people I'm not alone, and I feel excited. But that's kind of how I got here.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. So happy to have you join us. And let's say what's up to Q. What's going on, Q?
Yo, what's happening?
Man,
just chilling out.
Yeah. And
am I introducing myself as well?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself.
So I'm Q Ortiz. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. I'm out here in San Diego, living in the sun, bathing. And how I got into the system was through the practice of breath and the practice of posture and understanding deeper into that alignment. And from getting into Kung Fu from my Qigong practice, one of the brothers there was already practicing the Mucusless Diet Healing System, and he had also been cured or healed just using the protocols of Dr. Morse, some of the sort of fruit or the grape juice kind of protocols, where he got run over by a truck and he couldn't walk, and then ended up practicing Kung Fu later, so it's just like he had that kind of testimonial. So when he was putting me on to the ideas of Professor Arnold Ehret and the Mucusless Diet Healing System, I started just getting real hip to what the natural food sources of the body were. And that's where I ended up getting into, he showed me Mucus-free Life. I was able to peep Professor Spira, Brother Air combos, Tony, and just everyone that was in the Mucus-free Life, all the video content, questions and answers. So just from that moment, it was just getting into it because I was into vitality. So just looking for, okay, I'm understanding it's removing obstruction. So yeah.
That's what's up. So let's talk to Ziggy. Introduce yourself to the community.
What up? Ziggy Indigo over here. Yeah, I've been practicing the live it since September 2019. Got my bag, got the book, got my 11s, and we here.
All right. And do you have somebody else with you that wants to introduce themselves?
On and off right now. My phone might die though soon. I don't even know. This is not good right now. It's kind of busy right now. So
Okay.
yeah, not for now. Mother and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. What's going on, Reece?
Yo, my name is Reece. I got into the Mucusless Diet about a year and a half ago, and ever since then it's been a blast. It's a good time.
Yeah. And then Tobin, not sure where Tobin went. You still see you on here, but
Yo, what's up, everybody?
what's going on? Yeah.
What's going on?
Introduce yourself.
All right. So, yeah, my name's Tobin. Let's see, I got into the Mucusless Live It. Let's see, about 20 years old. And I've just been blazing that trail ever since. I'm 26 now. And I'm just keeping on to the pace, meeting great people and staying consistent, disciplined, and just bringing the creative spark. And love seeing the movement grow and flourish, as well as myself and just my own personal journey. So it's been quite the journey since. So I'm glad to be here, connecting with y'all.
That's what's up, yeah. And we got a chance to finally see each other in person last year at the the famous annual Professor Arnold Ehret celebration.
Mm-hmm.
Where, of course, circumstances has caused us to break our annual tradition, which we had a lot of stuff planned this year. We was about to go all out with some serious stuff, and of course, the circumstances of the world is sort of put a kibosh on that, because it's like, yeah, we're gonna have something online, and we'll recognize Ehret and everything, but to try to have the event when you go from state to state, you don't know what you're running into, and so I don't want to put people through that just traveling, and then it's nuts, and I'm sure we'll talk about some of this nuttiness as we go on here with all the face mask and is all of that stuff. So welcome everybody. Really happy to have you all here, and hopefully all of our internet connections stay robust and we don't have too much problems as we go through, but you never know, because wouldn't be a Mucus-free live production without something, had something happening. But we will think positively. So see, looks like we might have lost Ziggy. He was saying his connection, so he might come back in a little bit later. So everybody, so what's going on? Just what is going on with your lives right now?
Are you talking to everybody?
I'm talking to everybody. Whoever starts talking first.
Start the convo. All right, I'll go in. I can go in. Why not? All right. So yeah, like just in general with just life circumstances and everything, or specifically Mucusless Diet related, or
whatever comes into your head, whatever's on your mind.
All right. Freestyle. Okay. Yeah. I would say, yeah, my life and this live it has been. I've been directly affected by the whole proposed pandemic. I mean, everyone has in certain way, but I'm actually working in healthcare with elderly people, and I know me and Spira spoke about that for a minute at Ehret Day, and I've been doing that for a couple years, and it's just crazy seeing everything kind of transpire, and especially in the healthcare system, and the stuff that they're demanding people do as part of the new protocol and new normal and whatnot. Just with the face masks and doing testings, and even, and isolating people, especially the elderly, isolating the elderly, not letting them see family, making them wear masks. I mean, it's ridiculous on so many levels. And I mean, that's just the experience that I'm going through on that level of my career job. But just in general, everything is, I mean, I've still been having a good spring, summer. Other than that, I mean, I'm not staying inside. I'm not wearing a mask unless I really have to, just to pass through some of the Matrix's blockage. But I've been going to Kroger's and a lot of places without a mask, and haven't really gotten too much flack for it. But I'm sure they'll start cracking the whip.
Tell everybody what state are you in?
I'm in Oregon. Yeah, Oregon.
Yeah,
it's beautiful out here, man. There's flowers and fruit trees. The nature is amazing over here. So, I mean, anyone want to connect, like, Oregon is popping with nature. I mean, it's incredible there. I mean, and same with Ohio. When I went to Ohio, I was surprised. I thought it was going to be more like concrete jungle type, but there's so much nature there too, man. There's nature everywhere. You can't really say like one place is better than the other. It's just like all different. But yeah, that's just a quick little update on my side.
Okay. Yeah. How about you, Dani?
I got, oh man, so I just started a juice fast. I'm in like a real emotional time in life right now, and I just figured eating my body, I should just be clean, clear-minded. My aunt is in the hospital. She has battled MS her whole life, and she had a seizure, and I mean, she's out of her mind. And I went to see her, and the things that, I mean, it's just the hospital, the healthcare system, just, it's like hell on earth in there. And knowing that I could help her, I called everyone to see if she could get colonics and to just give her juice, because she refuses to eat. I mean, she's still there. She comes in and out, and she's scared. She knows she's dying, and these people won't do anything. They're trying to give her ice cream, pancakes, eggs, and my heart knows, like, I could help her. I could give her peace, and it's like, and with the whole coronavirus things, like, only one person can go in at a time. I was surprised we could even visit her. I'm right outside of Philadelphia, PA. And I mean, the emotions to see that once you get into that system, there's no real help in everything that, that we all know.
Right.
And she's seeing things, and she's scared. And I mean, there's just prescription medication, and they're telling me pooping's not her problem. Like, pooping's everybody's problem. Like, nobody wants to hear it, and I can't, there's not one colonic hydrotherapist that will go into the hospital too because of coronavirus. They won't even help.
Wow. So
I decided to start a juice fast and, try to get right with spirit, earth, and just whatever will be. I know, is seeing it firsthand. A lot of things in my family, just, this is the fuel to the fire of my message, and to keep on healing, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah. That's one of the things that frustrates me the most, because people know my background. I spent a lot of time in hospitals, watching them, take my mom out and my grandma, and as a young person being in that environment and seeing that, like, exactly what you're talking about, something that in a place that is supposed to be a sanctuary for healing, if anywhere, it's like, okay, down the street, pizza places and McDonald's, whatever, in a sanctuary for healing, there should be standards, and not even close. talking about someone that's suffering from those kind of symptoms, the MS symptoms, and they're giving them ice cream. Like, here's a treat, here's an ice cream. Absolutely absurd. And to this day, that's one of the things that still fuels me, because that's just, like I said, walking up and down the street, going to the festivals, man, I know what's up, that you ain't going to convince everybody of nothing, until they're in those places. And that is supposed to be that should be a place of healing, education. There, so much good could be done in that type of institution, and it's the exact opposite. Just total ignorance, giving people, just pus and mucus day and night. Totally ridiculous. So I feel you, and hopefully, you doing like that's what we do, is like you get in that mode and it's like, I'm just going to fast, I'm taking myself out the equation, getting out of the way of the universe. I'm fasting and cleaning myself out. And that's, it's kind of all you can do at a certain point. And she refused to eat for days. And today she's been more aware and like less, she gets like angry. I mean, she's freaking out and she doesn't know where she's at. And today was her best day. She hasn't eaten in days. And so they immediately fed her pancakes because she was feeling fine today. And in my heart, oh no, my aunt is just, I know why she was better today. And it's good. It's a lot. Yeah. I mean, just my aunt had gone through some stuff. I guess it was 2 years ago now, and she was in there. This is my aunt that lived in, not the aunt that raised me, but the one that lives in the city that I live in. And I remember I was having conversations with like the doctors and the nurses just out of curiosity. I was like, let me poke and prod a little bit. I took some pictures to analyze the ingredients on the Ensure drink stuff that they intravenously put into you, where it's like because what it really is a camouflaged fast, as Eric calls it, because they're not eating solid food. If you're in a unconscious state for an extended period of time, and they're putting in these liquids into your system, they think that they're giving you all this stuff you need. And this stuff is ridiculous. When you look at the ingredients, it's like whey protein and there's milk and all kinds of nonsense in it, but it's still liquid and you're still not eating anything. And so, like I say, even in a hospital where all this ignorance is happening, when people heal, there's still this camouflage fasting situation involved. Where they go days without eating. And like I said, in that case, she was getting a little better. And, here comes the pancakes. Here comes the,
I want to just chime in real quick, because I have had experiences with people on hospice, which means they have an expectancy of 6 months to live. And some of these individuals, this one was just in bed, and for close to 2 years, she barely ate any food, and she would just take a little bit of fruit juice with some fruit in it, and she was drinking that for 2 years, like barely eating anything else. So it just shows you the body naturally wants to fast, especially in the later stages and when you're needing to repair. So I've seen that too. And also, even though, like you said, there's a lot of the ignorance with all these concoctions they make, like the whey protein Ensure, but they also do prune juice. Like that's like one of the first things before they do Miralax and the other stuff to relieve constipation. But then one of the last things they do is the enema, but it's just the little bulb one that they do. So it doesn't really do much, but it just gets the first little chunk out or whatever. So,
And tell the folks what you do. I don't think you didn't mention.
Yeah, I'm a resident assistant caregiver. So basically working in assisted livings. I've worked in memory cares, worked in home care. There's like medications that they take. There's just protocols of like walking with them and feeding and just daily kind of like daily care of stuff that they need help with, depending on their level of dependency or independency. Just it just all varies, you know, really on person to person. On the really level of degeneration, I mean, how far gone they are, like how disabled they are, really, because that's what it really comes down to when it comes to dementia, Alzheimer's, like all these degenerative diseases. You know, it really shows like that. That's what's really taught me, just the later stages. I mean, we're seeing it. I'm seeing it through these elders, like how the system and how they've been taught the wrong way, and they're suffering they're suffering, but they didn't have to go down that route. Right. If they were educated with the right way to live. Like elders should be living, thriving, and should be like comfortable and healthy instead of suffering from all these ailments. So that's what I see is, I mean, 90 to 100% of them have some ailments. Like when there's so many that, you know, it all comes down to the one, like the universal one, which is constipation is what is the cause of everything else. But it just comes down to like, okay, there's the bones start to deteriorate, and the brain, memory loss, and just like different things happen in the body, like the skin starts to break down. So you just see a lot of that happen just person to person. But
what's the average age you would say of someone that's in that the actual hospice type environment?
It really varies, but I mean, there's people that are 80, there's people that are over 100. So it really varies on their health condition and what their lifestyle was and what they were doing previously that led to that point. But a lot of them go beyond the hospice 6-month expectancy, but some of them might not even last that long either. So it's like the diagnosis is, I don't think it's not very accurate. I mean,
right.
They just couldn't go by like, is this person looking like, I don't know. I mean, they say it's comprehensive and doing all these blood tests and whatnot, but yeah, I mean, it varies 80 to 100. I mean, even 70 years old, I've seen like younger than that too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's what's up. What about you, Q? How's your livelihood been affected by by these laws and things?
Yo, I do massage therapy and music, and that was rocking before everything started shutting down. Like having consistent shows, building out my clientele, like consistent clients, creating flyers to just like put it out to people and people catching on and setting up appointments. Then it was just like that. Like we had a 4-track EP release on March 14th, and coming up on that, I might have mentioned it to you before, where coming up on that date, there was the 250 people capacity for the spaces people could gather.
Right.
And this spot that we had, it was 120. So we were like, Corona, like, we about to play this show, release this out. And then like coming up, you just see all the postponed signals. Everybody's site, everybody's retreat, or whatever someone had going on, they had to cut that off. And since then, it was an opportunity for me to direct my energy into my YouTube, just sit with that more so, because I have been wanting to get into that, like having that a consistent project, just building that up. And it ended up, it wasn't like music for me. It wasn't like, oh, pick up your guitar and do concerts online now. That wasn't my vibe. I didn't feel, that didn't resonate with me. So my energy was telling me to go into the video realm and just sit with that. So that's been cool. Like I'd say it's definitely been working on staying positive and staying productive and just staying consistent with the practice, just like solidifying into the Mucusless Diet Healing System, I'm by myself. So just working on the different foods and showing up to different actions, like with the certain time that I do have and with the blessings that I've been bestowed upon, just where I feel like I'm taken care of just in life. So I have that just general feeling. So I was able to just follow what I need to show up for. And it's still weird, man. Like I'm not playing music out there. I did one concert that I was invited to do on the Facebook realm with the massage. It's like I did a few during this time, like in that realm. That was cool. Like just being able to help people, especially, like one of the people, she can't walk too well. And it's just, that was nice. It was good to at least show up to relieve them. But it's still, it's like people aren't reaching out like that. Like it's not.
Didn't they started shutting things down heavy out there again, didn't they? In California, it was kind of like, they just like, let's do it again. You know? Exactly.
Yeah. Like actually, that's a good point, because initially they did shut everything down, like salons, massage, bars, restaurants, all that. Then they started to open things back up, opening up the salon, which then included the massage therapy later on. And it was like a certain window of time that we were able to practice. The office was open. You just had to do different protocols, like space out appointments. So space out the time. They want you wearing a mask, the client wearing a mask, you just, So that's where, and then they all them other,
no massage with a face mask on. Come on, man. That's ridiculous.
So then they ended up like around the 4th of July, people were getting all crazy, you know, like where I think Los Angeles the beaches were closed down, Texas, I think, or Arizona, excuse me, the beach, like just their areas were closed down. So then they just like came here and was causing a ruckus. So I believe that's where like things just started shutting down more after that. So then they closed down the massage, and now it's more like you can do it outdoors. So it's just, and I'm looking into that. I'm looking into like, I got a homie who mentioned that he had a space. So potentially being able to like have people come and then sort of be outside, maybe do chair massage, or just keep it rolling, basically. Just keep the massage going if I'm able to, and if it feels right. Cause that, like how you just laughed with the client wearing a mask and like that whole thing, it's like, I'm about to just do something else, man. Like I'm about to just focus and I have a part-time job, so I kind of, it's a little bit like, it's just something where I end up being in that world. But in general, like I try to stay away from that world. Like whatever I need to do, I'm just like, I'll go to the things that don't have that energy, that don't have that fearful energy. Like where's the good energy? Or like where's the like people who just chilling, like cool? All right, I'll talk with you like that.
Yeah, that's
not that many people chilling right now.
Except so that we chilling right now. So that's where like some mucus-free meetups. I'm like, yo, what's up?
Right.
Thank you too for reaching out. Yes, thank you.
Yo, definitely.
Need it, you know?
Yeah.
So does my daughter. She needs all this. This is to show her that we are not alone. You know?
Have you ever played did you come across my the children health food book video?
No.
Oh, yeah, I will send you that link. Yeah, you guys will love that. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's like one of.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's one of the only videos on my channel that I had to change. Used to have a lot of great comments, but then I don't know if people that knew this YouTube thing that went on back in like December, anything that could be construed as being for children, you had to mark that on the video, and then any monetization was cut off, and they got rid of the comments. So all the comments were on there are like disabled, and so that's that thing. But the video is I think you guys really like it because it was a book that was written that I came across. It was a children's book, but it was like the Mucusless Diet version of a children's book, and I was I was real impressed. And so I've created a video where I basically read I read the book and I created music for it, and so it's pretty entertaining. Then the other thing,
that's the one with the mucus monster in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
The big booger.
Yeah, the and I'd recently I'd sent that to somebody recently, and so I watched it again, and I was like, sometimes I go back to those old videos and watch them objectively, from now and be like, that was pretty good. It's like that was a pretty good video. And then
we were so Arnold Eric Day. I'm like, Ohio, PA. It's
that's
drive,
just a few drive. Yeah.
I'm showing her like Brother Air and his kid, and I'm like, look, like, and because we're all about music. I grew up, my mom was in a blues band. I mean, I'm just jams all the time. And once I had my daughter, she's 10 now. I mean, live music all the time, every day with the kid. And I'm like, oh my God. She was like, you mean they would have just had fruits and vegetables? That's it? And music? And I'm like, yes. And people speaking truth. And so we were looking very forward to this year, and then to be able to come, and then all this.
Yeah. But this is gonna happen though. We gonna be back, and if this country still exists in its current form, and we don't break off and secede the union with our own society, we will have it next year. And the other video, which that's one of those where I hear that children like it. Is the like the Dr. Puppet video with the I don't know if everybody here has seen that one. Well, I know Tobin had probably years ago. And but
that's Dr. Puppet.
Yeah, the Dr. Puppet.
The rapping.
Yeah, rapping. Yeah, it's like the little puppet rapping. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
It took one of my
Who's
raps.
actually rapping in that?
Huh?
Is that you?
No, it's not me.
You?
No. It was a dude I found on Fiverr that would do that. Like they would either do their own rap, or you could send him the lyrics and then he would perform it. And so, so that was like what I would normally rap back then when I rapped more. But I sent him the lyrics, and so that was him, that he did that performance, and I kind of, on certain words that I wanted enunciated a certain way, I kind of, I had to write it out like that. And I liked it. I liked his interpretation of it, and he kind of had a unique voice.
Yeah, I like that. I like that too.
It's like, get that mucus, get it good. Everybody in the hood, get out the hood and get an enema bag. He he flipped the rhythm on it a couple times, and so I was like, yeah, okay, I can dig that. And then I did the video editing, of course, and I did that. So so there's some fun things for you and your family to check out. Dani, we'll get those links your way. And
they're popping up in the chat or in the notes.
Okay. And so Reece, how about you? What's been going on in your world? How you holding up?
And the weather's been great lately. It's been like 2 weeks of just sun and like 90 degrees every day. So it's actually storming right now. It's raining right now, but it's been perfect before this. So I spent like a lot of time out in the garden, sunbathing, a lot of time in the forest, in the mountains, just playing music, sunbathing, doing yoga, stuff like that. So I've been enjoying that. But it's tough to like come back to town and like drive through all the signs that say put a mask on you know, it's like you're in two different worlds. So you go into the forest and like you have your time there and it's like real peaceful. And then you come back here and it's like, it's just crazy. But I've been babysitting for a family lately, and it's tough to see that like the father, he went to the hospital and he was diagnosed with the COVID and also with pneumonia at the same time. And he just got released a few days ago, and he has like an oxygen tank, and he has trouble breathing, moving. So he's been in bed pretty much for a few days. But I was there yesterday, and his family fed him meatloaf. So the guy's like, he's in bed, he's like barely alive. He has like an oxygen tank, and then he's eating meatloaf. So that's tough to see that when I'm trying to babysit, and then it's like that's happening at the same time in the same house. But yeah, so that's been kind of tough to see. It's like I'm in an environment that's like opposed to how I'm living. So that's been something else. But I wore a mask for the first time yesterday, but I wore it around my neck. So I haven't really worn it on my face all the way yet, and no one really has seemed to care yet, except for a few like looks. But that's nothing, you know. But yeah, it's been I thought that I was gonna be okay here, like it wasn't gonna really be so strict here. Like around that people, I thought that it would be kind of different, but I guess not, because you know everyone masks up, everyone's afraid and acting like that. So yeah, man. So pretty much I've just been enjoying the weather, you know, doing what I have to do to survive out here, pretty much. Yeah.
That's what's up. I'm showing everybody. How did that? Oh, is there somebody who's got their audio up? Showing everybody your recent haul. You looks like you got a case of some Sunkist, a bunch of apples. You got some dates down there, lemons. You know, that's now what? Yeah. Where did you? Is this a wholesaler that you went to, or like a restaurant depot, or?
It's a restaurant depot. Yeah. Yeah, man. All those dates only cost me $6 for that big box. So yeah, I had to get that. But like the lemons, man, like the price always fluctuates. So like sometimes like a box of like 120 lemons it'll be like $30. Now it's 55. So I only got a couple bags. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I hope y'all can keep that price out there, because ours was still. It went up a little bit. It was 30 for a minute. Now it's up to like 35. And but yeah, I like I'm enjoying going to Restaurant Depot again, because or not again. I mean, it was the first time I went there, but just getting wholesale food again is kind of nice, because I used to, for years, that was, I mean, I would. You know, almost every week I was going to wholesaler and getting something. You know, getting a box of apples or oranges or, you know, whatever. And that was before I was as strict with organic. You know, I'm more strict now on certain things. And so with apples, I try to always kind of deal with organic apples now. But back then I didn't really care. I just got, and they didn't have it. It wasn't available like it is now either. But it was like, whatever, I'm just getting what's here. And so.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, for knowing that you did set a boundary for yourself on getting more organic food, what shifted in you that made you set that boundary?
It was, I'd started having some symptoms. It was more of a symptom thing, and I wanted to make sure that it wasn't that, and so that there wasn't a neurological response to poison that was on what I was eating. And so I got more conscientious about it, and a little bit more kind of like, okay, let me, and that tended to happen right at the time when it was a little bit easier to find the organic stuff. And so you know, and then sometimes there's creative ways to get organic things. And so I just started to experiment, and I would kind of notice like, okay, there is a difference when I eat an organic apple versus a conventional apple. And so the rule that I ended up getting was anything that was kind of, if something had a good skin to it that you would take off, or you're not eating the skin, then I wouldn't worry about it as much. but something that was exposed to the elements that is going to get the poison on it and then sink into the item, then I started being like, all right, let me go ahead and get organic versions of that if possible. And I did notice a difference, because I was going through something where I was just very sensitive to those poisons, because I was noticing like things like stuff that I hadn't really felt like that, just anxieties and different like little brain foggies and little stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, what's up? And and so just as like a process of elimination, I'm going down the list of things. It's like, okay, organic stuff, and then, you know, I'm fasting and doing, you know, changing up how I do an enema or two, you know, so I'm just kind of going down a list of things to tweak, and that was just on that list. And then once I started really kind of getting into those, like I said, kind of the organic of certain types of things, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna stay here on these items, because I did feel a difference. You know, but I'm not one of those hardcore in terms of like when I'm talking to people, you know, some folks was like, oh, it has to be organic or you're never, you know, it's like all this pressure. It's like, man, just get whatever you can get, you know, get what you have available to you, what you can afford. If all you can get is some stuff in a can, I'd rather you get fruit in a can if there's nothing available. You know, there's people, because people aren't thinking about, there's folks that live in places where they can't get fresh fruits and vegetables. And so and it's like, if all you can get, I'd rather you get a can of fruits or vegetables versus a can of tuna or a can of, you know, beef vegetable stew or something, you know. It's like,
or Vienna sausages.
Yeah, Vienna sausages. You know.
What'd you say?
When they cut it up in the rice is the little sausages and the Spanish rice.
Yeah.
And people will argue with you about it, and you're like, I mean, you could just not eat the Pop-Tarts and eat this bag of fruit. It's it's crazy. They're accustomed to it. I think it's like, no, it's my pantry staple. It's like, you don't eat this.
Yeah.
I think that's super interesting, and something that I reflect on as well, about how natural Pop-Tarts have become in people's just diet. Like, I've sat with that, like, just, and I'll use that specific, like Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
How has that become like just natural? Like, you out the womb, and then
I used to like Pop-Tarts. I see the craze.
I was eating mad Pop-Tarts. I'm just saying, like, yeah, right, yeah. I'm offending myself.
My Pop-Tart family.
What?
The little strawberry sprinkles. Sprinkles on it, the colors.
Icing on it,
the icing.
We're just gonna toast these up. Now we're extra special, you know.
Right.
Yo, you remember the newer ones that were like, you put the frosting on top of it, where it was like a toasty, flaky one with the dough.
The toaster strudel.
Yeah, toaster strudel. That was the new era for the 2000s kids, you know. Like,
I think it first. I mean, I think it was out when I was in the 90s. Yeah, like it first came out.
I didn't know about it.
A lot of those, they started getting creative with all that, but because I had just like everybody else, I did the Pop-Tarts, but I never really got into all those real creative. Once they started putting all that stuff on it, I just liked the old school. I guess it was strawberry, just strawberry Pop-Tart, nothing on it, you know. And so, and I didn't like them raw. I wanted them toasted, and so, you know, I'd have those, and so I would have that. That and orange juice would sometimes be a breakfast, you know. And because
I used to just eat all the packets. My mom would be like, "Where's the strudels?" I would just talk about mucus and pus. I'm just sucking up all the icing.
Yeah.
Like, no one did any. Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point, because it's mostly nostalgia, I feel like, that brings us to those cravings rather than just being some physical withdrawal, because so much of it is just some mental thing that you get out of, oh, this Pop-Tart, because you remember eating it and the sensation you had and how it looked, and it was just like that feeling that came out of that, this nostalgia, I feel like is so much of the relapsing and the cravings for those kinds of things is all from childhood, because that's where those happen.
Fake hug, like a bad hug, but like a
yeah, a big,
a bad hug.
A bad hug from, like a big Santa Claus hug from a Santa Claus
with Pillsbury Doughboy.
With the with
right on the lap.
Yeah,
no.
with bad breath and. It's like, and I think too, I used to have these breakfasts. Why did I eat that for breakfast? It's ridiculous. But I would have I would sometimes have Chef Boyardee cheese ravioli, like those in the microwave, and like I'd have that sometimes for breakfast, or beanie weenies. I would eat.
What's that?
Beanie weenies. It was I guess they don't have it anymore. It's do they?
Like
pork and beans. So just chopped up hot dogs in, but it was like in these little cans. So, but I would open two cans of them and put them in a microwave bowl and put it in the microwave. I'd eat that, and I would eat that. I would always have. I loved pineapple, and that Dole pineapple in a can. So that would be a breakfast. Would be beanie weenies with the Dole with some like 4 pieces of pineapple and some orange juice. That was
a good combination.
And it was just stuff that I just made that up. It wasn't like that was something that my aunts or anything was like, here, this is healthy. It was like, nah, it's just what I want. Just I didn't have because even all these things that are people think are breakfast foods, it's just marketing. They're not. That's not breakfast. Somebody wanted to sell you bacon, and they had the bright idea of like, let's make this something that people are supposed to eat in the morning. No one was eating. You wasn't supposed to eat that, and that all these kind of breakfast foods. And like, let's do this. This makes sense.
Yeah, the psychology runs deep, and I try to tell people, they know how to get into our heads. What do you just think about why you do some of the things? And some people actually listen when I say these things, because where do you think it came from? Let's just waffles with eggs and bacon, and let's just make it a sandwich. Or like even with a lot of the coronavirus stuff, I'm just. You're going to tell me that they're concerned for my health, but they'll give me fried chicken on a glazed donut. And then people, but where's your mask? I'm like, what?
What did they in the church say? Amen, because that's what I'm talking about. And I still haven't made that video, but I one of these days, because you notice in the beginning I was making all the videos talking about the COVID-19 and doing all that analysis, and I got to a point where I'm just like, all right, y'all on your own, because I'm bored now. Like, this is so stupid. I don't have no
it's too stupid to even discuss.
Yeah, it's just like, man,
it's
go believe what you want.
It's someone's fantasy.
Yeah.
Someone's little sick fantasy.
And because my new thing, I've been waiting for the vegans to pick up on this, because they should really be the ones doing this message that I'm like, you're gonna make me do it, the mucusless guy. I'm saying, look, if you want to create a pre-communist society, which is what we're in now, and I don't use that word lightly. I'm not some people like to throw that word around all the time. I'm like, no, this is what that looks like. Just study history. So we have people giving decrees and orders saying you must do this, wear a mask, stay at home, picking and choosing losers. Your business can win. This business you can't work. And so that's all it is. It's just pre-communist. It's a transition into that. So whatever. My thing is, if this really was about health, if this was about taking care of people and protecting the elderly and flattening the curve and all of these beautiful words that they've created. If that was the case, and if this really was going to be a useful pre-communist period, then the kind of orders that would be decreed would be, on day one, sign the order, all slaughterhouses are abolished. If you get caught running a slaughterhouse or working in a slaughterhouse, you can go to jail for 50 years. Let's just off the rip. If health is important, if as they claim the reason that we're wearing the mask and all doing all this stuff is for health reasons. Okay, so we abolish day one, abolish the slaughterhouses. Day two, abolish the dairy farms, and we can transition the dairy farms into a sustainable, useful form of farming that doesn't have to do with cow piss, drinking cow piss. We get that out of there. So that is, that would make sense. Like if you want to do that kind of thing, if you want to have these leaders stand up here and be like, you gotta do this and you're wearing your mask and all this kind of stuff, then meat and dairy, that just needs to be out of just banned. Like, we just shut that down. And but that's not where the consciousness is. And so it is what it is. But that should be a message, like all the PETA people, all of the the hardcore like vegan, because what's sad is they're some of the ones that are on the front lines of, well, you better wear your mask. Like, what? It's like, what are you talking about? It's like, you better wear your mask. Yeah. It's like, what are you going to do? You're going to wear your mask while you're outside of Tyson Foods talking about, free the animal, like, but then you're gonna protest with your masks on now. It's like, we're
speaking. I was just gonna say, like, the mask thing too, with people protesting and people have the mask and it says I can't breathe after George Floyd. I mean, what's like, that's right. That's a complete oxymoron. I mean, it's like, I can't breathe and you got a mask on.
You got a mask on, not being able to breathe.
Yeah, it's just so much insanity. I mean,
so about about vegan, I mentioned this on a meetup, but just because I'm in certain meetup, or I'm in certain vegan groups out here, and you're speaking about, it's like on the forefront of like, wear a mask. Like, I'm seeing that. I'm seeing all the vaccine and then so we're talking about KFC, and so we're talking about, so how Dani brought up the idea that people are like, oh, wear the mask, but then like, but these fast food joints, they're good. Like, the health food spot, I'm sorry, they not essential. Like, they shut down, but like, Mickey D's. So with the KFC, they just came out with the, what is it? It's like a Beyond thing, right? Like a Beyond, like plant-based.
The vegan bucket.
What's up?
I said the vegan bucket.
Yeah.
Really?
And is it called that?
That's what I'm calling it.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
but I mean,
so, they got the vegan bucket. So,
vegan fried chicken.
Straight. So, they have that coming out, and I'm looking at my feed, and I'm getting a bunch of. This is why I bring it up, because it wasn't just like a post; it was like a debate. People were on different sides about it. So, this restaurant posted on their website with the question, are these vegan? Right? Someone asked, or if someone asked, and it's like, these are not vegan or vegetarian. They're fried in the same fryer as the chicken, right? And there's a debate about that. Like, one half is like, this is great. This is progress.
This is the revolution.
This is how we do it. All right, everyone. All right, we're gonna go to KFC. we're going to buy the Beyond Nuggets to show that there's a market behind this. Let's do it.
Right.
Then, yeah. And the other side is like, yo, that hell no. Like, I'm not eating chicken fried, how you just said it. It's like chicken fried vegan nuggets. Like,
yeah, vegan. A vegan bucket, two piece and a vegan biscuit. It's like, this is not the direction that we need to be going in. And I know you guys can't see it, but I posted up images of this. They got it in a green bucket. And it says KFC is, and this is on the PETA website, it was KFC is testing vegan fried chicken in Georgia. So this is probably a while ago when they were first doing it. And, Beyond, they got the Beyond Meat in there.
But do you think it would be progress if they had abolished, like you said, shut down all the animal slaughterhouses and then just made all these fast food joints all vegan substitute? I mean, do you think that's possible that they would ever go in that direction? I mean, because it looks like some of it is trying to, but just to accommodate the vegans, like, what do you think?
Well, I mean, they're still in the transition to that, and so we're a while out from that. But what is going to probably happen before that really takes over with the Beyond Meats and the Impossible Meats and that kind of stuff, like right when they start to really, really get powerful and a lot of money, then the lab grown meat, because right now they're in the process right now of standardizing and being able to bring that to market. And so there's a lot of investment. All that Bill Gates money is going into the lab grown meat. And
right.
And that's
I don't trust Bill. We can't trust Bill Gates.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
he's all in that Beyond Meat. It's like that's. I feel like a lot of the vegan movement that's being pushed is because they know, like, he's got so much money in the Beyond Meat, and it's another way to keep us sick and also make what veganism was supposed to be look like a joke. You ain't gonna get cured.
Let's go back. Let's take it back. Let's go. Let's eat meat again. Like,
it'll be like discredit us. And it's like, no, they're purposely turning veganism into this junk food sick thing, and it's like, there it is.
Right. Now the folks can't. Let me see. In fact, let me see if this will work.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is why people will stay sick. This isn't what it's supposed to be. This is not veganism in the way it was meant.
Right.
I think that's an important distinction with Mucusless Diet Healing System practitioners, because I'll get some pushback when I'm sharing information about the system on that kind of, like, people talking about vegan, and it's like, yo, I'm not saying that. I'm not pushing this. I'm also bringing up fruits and vegetables, mucus-free as well.
Yeah. And this is part of the fight that we wage out here, is this kind of like, look, because it's not enough to just be, it's like, we're down for the more than most, we're down for the animal welfare. We're saying that if you eat like this, sooner or later, the problem is you're either going to die, or you might go back to the real meat foods. At some point, you're like, you know what, because you're not cleaning yourself out.
So similar, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and that's something that, in my experience, because we have the debates with the different, from the vegans and is it, you do it for health reasons, is it ethical, and that kind of thing. And for me, and a lot of the type of people that were like me, that I know that are more a lot of mainstream people, they're gonna have to clean themselves up first. Like, because before I started practicing the mucusless diet, you could have shown me every slaughterhouse video, the worst of the worst, And I had ice going through my veins when it came to that. I could care less. I had no empathy, no feeling. There was no way that you were going to get me to empathize with these suffering animals, because that was, you know, as a lot of people are, like I talk about this, you know, concept of psychopathism. You know, we're all on the spectrum somewhere. You know, we all got to live in this society. We have to be a little bit psychopathic. You know, it's just where are you at? You know, and so I was way over there. And so, but once I started practicing the Mucusless diet and I started cleaning myself out, I mean, remember having experiences of like sitting there and think and without any influence. No one was trying to, you know, give these influence, but all of a sudden I would start thinking about I would think about that. I would think about, you know, those are like these animals. It's like they're not different. Like I love my cat and, you know, and dogs, and they're not, why is a cow different? You know, but this was all stuff that came naturally out of you know, the practice of the Mucusless diet, you know, cleaning myself up first. So I'm not saying not everybody's like that. There's some people that will have that empathy first, and then and then they'll get sick, and then they'll come looking for something like the Mucusless diet, because it's like, okay, I'm not eating meat, but why am I so stopped up all the time? Why is my back hurt? Why am I, you know, why can't I have bowel movements properly? Then they find us that way.
The whole Me Too movement that was going around when they were doing the hashtag Me Too, you know, about sexual assault and all that. I was trying to, a lot of the reason I first started to take dairy out of my diet was really nothing to do with my health, because I was still believing what they say, that it's good for you. And I just, how the cows were being raped and their children taken away from them. And like these cows are just being like raped constantly, and it's just like, oh my God. And I was trying to like get into the comments of the Me Too movement, like, hey, you know, if they're doing, these animals can't hashtag anything, but can we care about them too, maybe a little bit? And nobody was just feedbacking on that at all. And you know, it's like, you don't think they have a soul? I don't know, you know, it's humans to animals, but trying to like, let's look more into the dairy industry and how, you know, get you off of that. And I mean, it was like, I guess cows weren't involved in the Me Too movement. No one cared.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, the psychopathic, the mucus and pus, there's no empathy. It's just,
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yo, so last weekend I was in the forest, and so I saw this deer. It like ran by kind of behind me, and when I saw it, when the deer saw me, I saw how scared the deer was, and it ran off. But then that got me thinking for like several hours. I just sat there and I was thinking like how terrified that deer must be just to be in the forest, because people are hiding up in trees trying to shoot it, trying to kill it and eat it all the time, other animals and stuff like that. But I come from a family that used to hunt. I never hunted because I was too lazy, I guess. I just never really got into it. But like I never had the empathy either about animals before. But then like since I practiced the Mucusless diet, that's kind of naturally developed. But just seeing that deer like really affected me, because seeing how scared it was just from seeing it like a human, that was just something else, man. Because like in that area, people go hunting often. Yeah. And it was like a deer that was all by itself, all alone. Yeah. So yeah, it was sad to think about that.
Yeah. I'm glad that we don't got that like where I'm at, because I have a whole family of deers that live like in my backyard, and they walk up and down, and they're not real scared of me. They're not real scared of humans, because no one's trying to shoot them. And they run around, and, you know, and I'll be out, because sometimes I'm walking around out at, you know, in the middle of the night, just out in the woods around here, and I'll come up, you know, they'll be sitting there, you know, or hanging out, just it was like, hey, what's up, you know, and that's and when I do that, that's why I get so mad about people like that would hunt this peaceful creature that's not trying to hurt nobody, is trying to eat vegetation and just chill, you know. It just and it's like, and why would you? What do you get out of shooting? There's no sport in that, because they'll stand there and look at, you know, it's like look at you, unless they're trained like the ones near you where they're scared, and so they're gonna see you and run away. But it's like, like I say, okay, if you really feel if that'll make you feel like a a red-blooded American, if you want to go and hunt something, then go hunt you a tiger with your bare hands, and I will. I got your back. If you want to, get your canine teeth, since these are so, so meat eating. Get them out and go jump on the back of the tiger and put your canine teeth into its neck and see how good you do. That would be that's a sport, and so is ridiculous. But that's where once you it's like the Mucusless Diet Healing System takes you so far beyond. That's like the beginning, that's sort of that level of empathy where you put it together like, what, probably shouldn't be eating animals. Like that's like day one, you start cleaning yourself out, and then but that's the very beginning. And then after that, now you're opening up into a whole different world of consciousness, and that's one reason sometimes we don't keep talking about that, because it's you get beyond that. It's like once you have that part together, you have to keep talking about it. It's like we got that. Now you want to be able to sustain where you're at. You want to sustain where you're at and better. And to do that is practicing the art of the Mucusless diet, and the transition diet is important. Is a key factor, because it's if you're not really tuned in and working the system, you go off on these weird tangents. And who was I talking to? It was someone who had it was today. He has friends in our that was our e-course meetup, or the Q&A session, and someone was talking about that she has some friends that are like got in the carnivore diet. So it's like she's practicing the Mucusless diet. She got friends that are like not even omnivore. They're really trying to do that all meat, Joe Rogan endorsed type of thing. And that's deep. That's deep, because that would be a hard relationship to maintain, but.
So someone practicing a mucusless diet was with someone who was on the carnivore diet.
Yeah, her friends are on that. Like she's got a couple friends that does the carnivore thing. And
you just like munching on lettuce. She's got like a chicken leg in her mouth,
right? Like a raw chicken.
Like how do you can't vibe on that?
It's deep.
I wonder how much acceptance you would have to cultivate to be able to be in that relationship, like sustain that, if it was just like.
Yeah, and these are things that have a tendency to shift, and she's a little earlier, or a little earlier on in the diet, and what's that? What's what?
You said these are tendencies that begin to shift.
No, things that have a tendency to shift.
Okay.
Relationships.
Oh, okay.
Those kind of relationships. So I don't want to say nothing or forecast nothing, because I don't want to be responsible for breaking up beautiful friendships. That's not my job. So I try to be very, politically astute in the way that I talk about relationships, because I've been accused before of having making suggestions that have pulled families apart and stuff, and I'm like, look, no, you do whatever you want to do with your relationships and your friends. I don't care. I'm just saying that there are certain phenomena that we can observe from other people that have practiced the diet, and there tends to be a shift at a certain point where, like you were saying, you don't necessarily vibe with some of your past friends, and that's one of those things that, like I always say, one of the hardest things for most people practicing the diet is the social part, and so and that's where it gets tricky, talking about it because, like I said, I don't want someone to look back and be like I'm responsible for breaking people up or something like that. It's just objectively and philosophically, you look at it and you're becoming a new person, you know. So I'm all very clear about that. When you practice in the Mucusless diet, that is the real rebirth. You're becoming a totally different person. And so sometimes that new person needs some new friends. Sometimes, you know, and so it is what it is, you know.
And actually, the cleaner I get, I can't even smell meat. Like I don't even want to smell it. I was on the beach. We tried to get on the boardwalk, and I mean, and you know, I get as a parent, my daughter, when we ate meat, I was pregnant eating meat. I ate so much meat. Ugh. And to see her finally be like, ew, mom, oh my God, that's meat. It's like, yes, like we both couldn't even handle the stench of just steak sandwiches. And so, I mean, this girl, I mean, the more she goes with her friendship, I mean, how's she going to sit? She's going to get like nauseous smelling the flesh. I mean, I do. I can't.
Yeah, no. And one of my funny stories was there when I was going to Cosmic Conservatory of Music, and this would have been like year 2 of practicing the diet, but it was a point where there's this death stench that you can smell coming off of people that eat meat that you can't smell as long as you're eating it. And I started just smelling this from and it was like smelled the same from multiple people, and I'm like, what is that? And it kind of dawned on me, because then I was like, well, when I'm hanging with the mucusless people, it don't smell like that. I don't smell that from them. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I kind of smell like I'm going through like elimination. Like, damn, that smell was on me. And then after a while, it wasn't, and I had to kind of put that together. It's like, man, that's that death stench that's coming with. They say the impure spirits, that impure breath. And so I actually, because I was off the chain at school, and I really could care less of what anybody's opinion was of me. I was like just a lone wolf. I don't want no friends. Like, don't talk to me. I was scared of people. But there was a period where I actually walked around school with a face mask on. And I dared people to ask me why, because it'd be like, just. And so the few people that would ask why, I'd be like, man, why you got a face mask on? I'll be like, man, that death smell coming from people, I don't like it.
Ask me about it.
Yeah, I dare you. Yeah, ask me about it. Yeah, those were the
you smell like death, buddy. I like it.
Yeah, there's a lot of death smell coming off of people, and I don't like it. And those were the totally unfiltered Spira days back then. Because I wasn't trying to be like educate nobody or be nice or nothing. I'm like, just stay away from me. I'm trying to get into this diet. I know that it's like a Herculean task in that type of environment, because everybody is just, you're in an environment which just has nothing to do with trying to get yourself together physiologically. Everybody's about the drugs, and a bunch of those guys I was going to school with, they were in some of the heavy drugs, and that kind of stuff. Of course they failed out. They didn't last long in CCM. But so I just was like, look, just stay away. And then I started I would kind of be bringing in the brother Air and Victor, and I'd be bringing them into the school for stuff. And so it was like, we just stick out like these guys are something else. Like, you don't fit in here. And this is kind of, the conservatory, as it's called.
And you bringing up where you're talking about the smell, we didn't touch in on that increased sense, like increased sensitivity of smell through cleaning out the body and then smelling that.
Yeah.
So not even just like, like just picking up on it. It's like really cleaning out your channels and then just smelling the world around you and getting a deeper understanding about that aspect.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's part of exactly. That's the not only do you're clearing this out, so all your senses are getting heightened. So you're feeling more, you able smell more, hearing more. I experienced all of that. All those different senses were getting heightened, and at first it can be tough because now you're smelling things that you wouldn't that you weren't smelling before, and somebody had asked me, maybe it was Reece, it was asking about the triggers, the relapse triggers and that kind of stuff. And it was like smell was a big one because early on in the transition, I wasn't, I still could smell meat cooking and stuff like that, and I could still kind of want it, or a little bit, or some of those poisons are still in my system, so it could kind of trigger like, but at the same time, I'm past it mentally. We're like, man, I don't want that crap, and so, the smells in that environment, and I was real sensitive because now I can handle some of these party environments again, when I'd go play music on the street and some stuff, but I had to almost transition back into that. So now I can absorb all that energy, and it doesn't do anything negative to me, so I can walk into a club and all this kind of craziness is going on, and it's just like I'm at peace wherever I'm at, it's like. But it wasn't like that in the beginning, so there was a period where like that party atmosphere, that was too much for my senses. It was, it's loud and this and drunk people and that and this and fights breaking out and all that kind of stuff. It was like, it was too much. And then, and then playing on the street over the years, it was kind of like, half and half, where you're kind of controlling the vibration and this little sphere around you, but there's still a lot of chaos going on all over the place. And, but now I'm at a space where, like I said, I can pretty much go into any environment and I just absorb, like I'm unchanged by whatever the nonsense is that's happening. And, but yeah.
Can people tell that you're different by your vibe when you step into those environments? You in a club?
Yeah,
rocking that dashiki.
yeah. I mean, just walking up and down the street, because I usually people, they don't know who I am, but they'll like say what's up to me, like, hey, I like your shirt, hey, what's up, or start conversation with me, and they don't have a clue who I am, and so it's been like that for a while, and and we got that old story of me and Brother Air. Where we went to this music convention, and we started off playing music outside of it, and then somebody gave us like a free pass, like a ticket to get inside, and so we got inside, and as soon as we walked in, people were asking for an autograph. They didn't know who we were. we just looked like somebody, like they needed, they wanted our autograph. And so it was deep. Yeah, we just walking around we was getting that treatment like all day. People was just just thinking that we was like somebody important, and so I was like, yeah, that's cool, because we. And so
you give them a signature or autograph?
Yeah,
when they ask you.
Yeah, Professor Spira. So if anybody ever finds those, I guess that would be.
Did you show them your business card? Be like, yeah, check me out, Mucus-free Life.
Well, this was way before. This was before Mucus-free Life, so that was like.
Oh, okay.
That might have even been before Breatharian Ensemble. I mean, this particular thing was way back in the early days. In fact, there's a picture in Spira Speaks from that event. The picture of me and Brother Air that's in Spira Speaks, that's from this event that I'm talking about. It was a drum convention that was it was actually up here in Columbus at the convention center. And
so when you talk about the vibration aspect, because I've really been just sitting with that idea, like vibration, frequency. with practicing the Mucusless Diet Healing System. And I know you brought up in different occasions, one where I believe you and Brother Air were fasting for a certain amount of time, just doing your own practice of your fast and showing up, and just the vibration was just unmatched to those in the environment, or just the environment itself. Like, you were able to just come with your own increased vibration through the practice. And yeah, what do you think that is, that phenomenon? Like, what's your idea of changing your vibration through that removal of obstruction?
I mean, you're getting down into the real human that's inside you. You know, you're peeling off this external kind of, you know, chaos and any fakeness. If you ever was, you know, acted fake and, you know, you projected some kind of persona or something, it's like you're really starting to get down into who you really are. And that, you know, when you're real like that ends up being like something that, you know, a lot of people don't understand. You know, it's like it really is like ancient people. You know, you're getting in touch with that ancient part of yourself, and it's not like in a superficial kind of way where you're, you know, doing, you know, trying to meditate and, you know, I'm gonna become this person or that kind of stuff. It's like it's a vibration, you know, on the original, you know, on a level. It's vitality equals power minus obstruction if you put it in terms of Mucusless diet and theory and philosophy. The more that you remove you know, it's like the physical obstruction, but you're also removing the mental obstruction, spiritual obstruction, you know, all obstruction on all levels. And so you start from a physical space, because that's one of the things we have control over, that to a certain extent. But once you learn how to harness all of those levels, from the physical to the mental, spiritual, and understand the holistic nature of how to deal with all of that, you know, it works synergistically. It comes all together. And so I think people, you know, they don't know what it's sometimes folks don't really know what to do with that feeling, you know, and that vibration. Because it's a different it's a different thing, and so it's interesting, because it is like, you know, when you have, like, you know, if you look at anybody, you know, in our culture, you know, famous people or celebrities, you know, and they come into a room, there's sort of this, it's like pre-selection. People already know who they are. Because there's this you know, this halo effect that money can buy, and when there's some definitions of celebrity that's based on media as being in the controlling of media to build up a certain persona. So that's why so much of a lot of this pop music and this stuff is almost zero talent under it, but doesn't matter, because with enough money you can construct a halo effect around people. You know, you do a music video, some dude that can't rap or sing, but you put some attractive women around him, looking at him in half naked or whatever, you know, and then, you know, and they looking goofy, and it doesn't matter, you know, because you gave them that halo effect. You know, if you take all of that away, then, you know, do you think that they'll walk into a club and be able to command that type of response from their presence, you know, without the construction? You know, see, old school, like the real cats that, like the original famous just meant being much talked about. If you look up like the etymology of famous, that it, you know, kind of used to be, you had to do something. You know, you weren't famous just for being famous. There was something you were bringing to the table that caused people to, you know, to want to talk about you or something like that. And when in the vibe, there's a lot of, it's a vibration that certain people had, and so then other people want to be around that because they're like, well, what is that? What's that vibe about? And so it's an interesting thing. You can see different people that will have a certain thing, because that's the question that I like to ask for, like the celebrities. Is like, okay, if you take the halo effect away and that celebrity away, would their personality still command that type of attention if they just walked into a room, of people that didn't know who they were? Could they still? And some can, because some are, super charismatic or whatever. Some can, a lot can't. A lot of them rely on the media, rely on, the money that's put behind them and all that kind of stuff. So the point of all this is just that the Mucusless diet allows you to really cultivate, because you have to get so deep into yourself. So it gives you the opportunity to really cultivate yourself on a level that you don't know about yet. It's like it's gonna keep pushing you. It's keep pushing you as you get to a certain level. You're like, okay, cool, but then you're gonna just be ready to keep getting pushed, because there's always more. There's always the next level to get to, and it's not, and so. But yeah, that vibration.
And when you touched in on that mental aspect, you were reminding me of how you put out like the mucus-free mindset videos, just to get people into that awareness as well, like how the mentality aspect works with practicing, where it's not just the physical. It's like, all right, we gotta look at this a certain way when we're approaching practicing.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to note that.
Yeah. The mucus-free mindset is super important. Something that you have to cultivate. And see, looks like, I don't know, is that Reese's? We was getting a little feedback, I think, from Reese's channel there. But yeah, it's that's the thing, that to once you tune into that frequency and you tune in to that mindset, then that's where it's like taking the training wheels off at that point, where it's okay, now you know what you need to do. You're not questioning everything all the time. You're just like, okay, boom, I've committed to this path. I'm going down this road. I'm gonna see what's down here, because I don't know. I know what's down the other path. And that's the one thing, we know what's down vegan fried chicken path. We know we already know what's down there. And so
don't dip in the bucket. Get out of the bucket.
Yeah, get out of the bucket. And the Colonel, Kentucky Colonel, let's get away from that. And because that's the thing, folks are really, they're stuck. You get stuck in that, and it's because that's why we say it's about pus and mucus, mucus addiction. And so as long as that addiction is there, you're gonna
find a way, huh?
Yeah, you're gonna find a way.
Appease it. Yeah.
And
change either. The things that you're talking about, you're going into this unknown area. You're kind of experimenting with yourself, and it's they find themselves scared. I mean, it's so many people, they can't change. It's, God forbid you change your routine or your anything. And since it's, and this whole thing is, to me, is exciting and amazing. It's hope into that you won't live that rat race of, okay. But a lot of people, I think, they're trained to now enjoy that rat race, that they don't even want to get out of it. They're like scared for that unknown, or what they might get if they start diving deeper, changing even breakfast. Tell someone to just eat fruit, nothing else, and it's like, what? Just breakfast, So it's it's courageous. And then, I mean, like, I'm just so thankful to even, like I said, from the beginning till now, to just be sitting here right now. It's like with other courageous people who want to find, who are we, you know? It's nice.
Yeah. And tell me, well, because we weren't on when you were first talking about when you first got introduced to the diet and then checked out the annotated version. Tell that story to everybody, because it is a common, you know, it's kind of a common thing, and I'm always interested in how people get into the Mucusless diet. But kind of give us that. You talked about, you had first said, like, well, you know, I'll let you say it. How
I ended up finding Arnold Ehret, or how I found you?
Well, both, because I think you had said you had found you'd found the Ehret, then you saw the annotated version. You were like, wait a minute.
Yeah, so on the Amazon, I'm seeing, all right, this Mucusless Diet Healing System, Arnold Ehret, and this one, and then it was the annotated version by Professor Spira, and I'm like, who's messing with the book? Like, I'll go with the original version. You know, you just like, is someone messing with this again? Like they did in history class, or, you know, who's messing with my history? So I was like, I'm going to get this version and rock with that. And that's basically, I read that one a couple times already. And then now I'm on the annotated version and dive into everything Professor Spira. You know, it's like, how many things have we found that the truths are hidden from us? Or, you know, and this is the exact opposite of what was happening. You were bringing it to light and giving it more understanding, breaking things apart that I missed. I mean, I didn't even, God, if I could have read your version first, I mean, it would have saved me from reading it so many times. I mean, I get something out of it every time, but I'm like in this paragraph like 10 times, like, oh wait, there's got to be more in there, you know? And
right.
Yeah. So it's like, wow, okay, you know, to anybody else who, you know, to read it, now I want to get, I want to buy this in bulk and just start passing it out to people. Here you go. Here you go. I do construction. I'm in the union in Philly, and I'm one of the unions. And a lot of the guys that see me, I'm always carrying watermelon. I'm always drinking watermelon every day, and they're always like, "What's in your cup? What's in your jar?" And it strikes up a conversation. And I actually have a couple people who said that now they drink watermelon on the strength of talking about it. And there's this one guy who's always like, "Oh, Dani, I'm drinking sea moss now, or I'm doing this." And I want to give this man, I let everyone know, oh, look at this podcast. I put everybody onto the podcast because it's like, just go listen to these podcasts and then maybe you'll get into the book. But a couple people, I'm like, I just want to pull it out of my tool belt. Like, hey, here you go.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
As Brother Air, reconstruct yourself, reconstruct the bloodstream. You in the construction, we got this in the belt. Just,
right. Yeah. It's like the tool belt. It's like, yeah, you got that.
I think they look at me like, what is this girl doing here? And I'm like, paycheck? Oh man, I'm just finding my way. I don't know. You know, but I want to pass out that annotated version and say, hey, just, you know, read it, give it a chance.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's interesting because there's a number of people that are in construction that practice the Mucusless diet now that we know, because
well, actually it's not. It's hard and it's not, because I mean, you see these guys and they're big bellies, and wow, I've never noticed so many bellies in my life, and I'm just like, everybody needs help. And in the hottest 90-some degree air, I'm in a Tyvek suit and I'm got my belt and I'm working on this hot sun and I'm fine. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, and then go eat lunch and they're eating pizzas and cheesesteaks and I'm just with my fruit and I'm fine. And it's, you know, but it's hard too though, because I feel like these hours of my life are kind of not meaningless to a sense, but I don't feel like I'm giving back. So I get very excited when people are like, "What's in your cup?" And I'm like, "Oh, hey, yeah." now we're talking.
Yeah.
Now we're talking.
Now, how long have you been in construction?
So this is my first year in the union in construction. I've been in and out of jobs. I've done hair. I was a single mom for years, and I was actually a dancer, which is quite the experience of where I'm at now. And God, I did loading stuff at supermarkets, at Whole Foods, which now I have the hookup for juicing oranges though, thanks to that job.
Yeah.
They got him on this right for me. Like, oh, Dani's coming for the yes. I get him on discount. So. Yeah, so I've worked many jobs. And it's never had a desire. Like I don't desire money. I'm a mom. I have a family. It's like I gotta get it. But I never knew like what do I want to take all my life and do? I don't know. You know. Now I'm like, well, I want to wake people up. I know that, but I'll do that for free. I don't, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll find a new way. I was like, maybe in my like, keep fasting, and somewhere I feel like this conversation, like I'm here right now, and so something's happening. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that was a big part of, you know, we would always talk about the universe. That's sort of the dialect that we use with that in. Getting out of the way and letting the universe do whatever it's going to do, and trying to plug in to, like I was saying earlier today, for me, when people say, oh, when they use that, like that gift, like that's such a gift, or you're gifted, or it's like, for me, the greatest gift is knowing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm doing it, you know, and it takes being open. It takes the fasting and really putting yourself out there and saying, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? And being willing to go down that road, even if it's not necessarily what you thought you wanted to do at the time. Because like I said, I thought that I knew eventually I would do something promoting the diet. But years ago, I thought that I would probably do it when I was like in my 60s or 70s, that I'd tour the world, be a famous musician, and just do the musician lifestyle. And then later on in life, when I get tired of being on the road, then I'll publish a couple books and talk about the diet or whatever, you know. But then in some serious fasting and being away from humanity, I did like a 2-month long thing where I was away from all human contact, and so peaceful, so nice, but into this real heavy fasting, and part of the message that I got was, it was almost like it's good that you want to do that. It's kind of like the Abraham and Isaac story from the Bible, where it's like, okay, it's good that you were willing to kill your son, but don't. You know, it was like that kind of, it's like, okay, it's good that you're willing to leave society and go off in the woods and fast and try to live that type of lifestyle. It's good. It's good that you want to do that and that you're willing to, but don't. You got work to do over here. And that's when it was like, okay, that's when I started publishing the books, and, you know, I got really serious about, you know, putting Mucus-free Life together and that kind of thing, because that was the message that I got. It was like, okay, you're supposed to be doing this right now, and then later you can, you know, share your music with the world, but you got to share this first. And so, you know, but once you align yourself with whatever it is that you are really supposed to be doing, then it just feels good. I mean, it's that joy that, you know, it unlocks, you know, a lot of these things that these good feelings that we lock away from ourselves. You know, when you get in alignment, it's just like, there it is. You know, it's just like a relief and release, you know, just like, okay, I'm at least happy. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And so, you know, as I got a couple videos where I talk about, you know, find what it is that you love doing and do it, you know, besides the diet, because we all, you know, we're all into that, but like what is it that you're calling, you know, that's you really, that's in your alignment, and you don't have to know right now, you know, because part of that process is as the cleaner you get, it becomes more clear, you know, because another thing is that clarity of thought that was, for me, was invaluable. And I know I don't even probably talk about it enough, but an invaluable part of the result of the diet for me was just clarity of thought. You know, just being able to really think clearly, rationally, deeply, in a way that I couldn't before. You know, before practicing the diet. You know, because I couldn't think like that eating, you know, Whoppers and Big Macs. You know, it's like
I just want to add something into that real quick, because I've I've kind of lived like I'd say like a gypsy kind of life since I was about 13, at friends' houses and whatnot. And I've since I was little endured many traumas, physical, emotional, and I never thought that I would be able to be. I battled prescription pill addictions, alcoholism, horrid nightmare stuff that to be the woman where I am today is with the clarity that you're talking about, to have thoughts and I mean, when I lay my head down to sleep, I don't struggle anymore. I just go to bed, and it's, like I found this came, I was searching for truth, and I feel like this was searching for me, and it unlocked. And it's like, that's what I want to like tell everybody. It's just like, your head is so clear. It's a miracle. Like your thoughts, your perceptions, and you can, I think people think, oh, it's health. Like you want to be fit, or you want to be, and it's like, it's mental clarity that I think is the biggest gift. Like you were just saying, it's just, wow. It's not, oh, I need 10 years of therapy and Prozac or any of that to overcome my childhood. I have peace, and I have fruit. It's like, it's a miracle.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
And see, Tobin said so his video was compromised. Had a little video issue. I think he's still on here for his audio. And but yeah, that's I mean, it's huge, huge part. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to talk about that because people, it's like they like the videos of, people, bench pressing 500 pounds and, vegan gains. I'm doing that. It's like, oh, it's that very, just that stimulation. It's all like, that's what people want to see and that kind of stuff. And I'm not even talking about I know there's a guy I think it calls himself vegan. I'm just talking about just the phenomenon of, getting gains and, that whole thing.
And I'm vegan too.
Yeah, and like I'm vegan too.
There's the gains, there's the pus gains, and then the vegan gains. I'm plant-based. Still getting my protein,
it's like I'm still
my macros.
I'm still doing just what the pus eaters are doing. I can do them even better. It's like that mentality is just not, because it's kind of like, well, how do you, the kind of benefits that I was getting was kind of like, well, I wrote a book in a year, or like I put a book, like that was, I wrote a 500-page dissertation. Those are things that I did that, I might not be as cool as lifting 500 pounds, but
you can't.
We trying to watch it. What were you saying, Dani? Sorry.
No, you can't like put a thong on it and make it sexy. So it's like,
you probably can though. You probably can. I think that's probably because like if you just like watching Professor, like, all right, today. All right, history of jazz music, and that's like the video.
Well,
like,
it's
okay,
like
me different.
Video of me writing. You
have to do your edits, just like throw in because mucus, or just switch it up for the public. I'm saying for the masses.
It's like you have to. I mean, they have to have something. It's just that type of thing is hard to when you're talking about, what's the positive things that you get, because you hear that sometimes, like, what's the good things you got from the diet and that kind of stuff, and it's kind of like, well, some of the best things for me are things that's harder to, it's like, it was great getting over all I can go down the list of the ailments that I overcame and the diseases and that kind of stuff, but like we're saying, that clarity of mind, the ability to learn and to think at such a increased level, is just the speed with which where I can just absorb so much more information, and it really was in the early days of practicing the diet. It really felt like that scene in the Matrix where they put Neo and they plug him in and he's like, and he learns. He's like, like, I know Kung Fu. It's like he had learned, he had learned everything in just a couple of seconds where he's like, it's like, he likes it. You want some more? He's like, hell yeah. It was like that where I was just, cause like I was telling people I'd go through 10 documentaries a day, and, I could read, as I learned photo reading in that period. So I could read a couple books a day and, and really absorb it, like really take it all in and use it. And so it was exciting. And I mean, I still do it now, but it's like, it's so much a part of my everyday life. It's not, I think when I think about it, I think back about those earlier days of it, because that was when it was like so new and fresh and that kind of stuff. Now it's just it's how I operate. I still do it, but it's, and we were talking yesterday. I was trying to show Reece and Q some of my learning techniques that I've developed that I do without really thinking about them, but I want to try to be able to share them with other people. And so hopefully one day I'll be able to do that, on how to create a course, how to how to learn a lot very quick.
I like that.
Yeah, and I'm very interested in that photo reading situation.
Professor Spira, the looking into words, I'm now addicted because of you. I'm like, oh, where does that come from? Wait, what is this meaning? Where did this word? Why are our language, everything? I'm diving into that. And then the history, I'm like, normal thing with history, but you keep mentioning, like, as I'm listening to the podcast, like, it's just, and it'll make me a little crazy though too. Like, I had to get myself off of Instagram for a little bit because of everything that's going on right now. And I'm like, it's driving me nuts. But there's wisdom in your words, and thank you, because it's good. It's sticking in there too. I'm learning, and now things are changing. It's like, yeah, let me check that out. Get out. It's good.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm glad that folks are picking up on some of it, because for years I was like, I don't know if anyone's picking up on anything. You kind of question, like, I don't know, but yeah, because there is so much. It's like there's so much to get into, and I was thankful I was able to have that time. But the thing is, you have to make the time. When whatever your circumstance is, whatever you find important, you make the time for it. And so and then with the diet, for me, with another good perk was especially when I was fasting or I was eating really clean, I didn't sleep as much as people. I mean, I've never really slept that much, but the kind of sleep that people say they get, or whatever the hours, like, I didn't need that. And so that gave me more time to study and to practice and to do what I want and to live life and be conscious. And now, of course, every time I say that, I have to make the disclaimer: I'm not telling people not to sleep. My official thing on the whole sleep issue is sleep as much as you can. And nothing wrong, just sleep if you can, but what was with me, as the cleaner I got, it's, I just would wake up. I don't, there's only so much that I could actually sleep. And
yeah, I on that sleep topic, I noticed when I would do like the short 24-hour fast, or like the 48-hour fast that Arnold Ehret suggested, just a short fast. When I did try to sleep, like, sometimes I would just be up, man, like just running energy, just like my body was just up. And how you were talking about with that extra time, usually in those modes, and I don't know if you trying to talk about it, like, because I experienced it recently, like it was re-emphasized, where the difference between consciousness of when you're on that mucusless path, like just that trail, like I've been mucusless for a couple days, or like this day or a few days, or that kind of thing, and the type of thoughts you have, the type of content you engage in. And I'm speaking personally, like just I noticed when I was in Mucus Lean, what kind of content I was observing, what kind of thoughts I was having, and then getting into like I am in the short fast and like what I'm thinking, I'm hitting up the mucus-free videos and like vibing off of that like that. But in the nighttime, I noticed with that extra time, just like, oh, boom, let me touch in on the mucus-free research, like that kind of thing, and just feel that spirit. And not
it's definitely learning how to deal with that dial and be realistic about it, because because sometimes if you're at that lower vibration and we go there, instead of trying to beat yourself up about it or force yourself to like, I'm gonna force myself to, Eckhart Tolle, whereas I'm gonna force it, instead of doing that, just if you're gonna get into some crap, you watch it, it's like, hey, now my thing with that is when I do that, I'm never not analyzing. So I don't even know how to turn my mind off from, I'm always breaking down, historical context, social dynamics, communication, relationship dynamics, whatever it is. Like my mind, that's just automatic. I can't help that. And so I'm still getting something out of it. And then if I'm studying something like right now, I've been really kind of getting into neuro-linguistic programming a little bit and really getting back into it. Years ago, I checked it out, and that's my topic right now of research. And so if I'm watching some kind of TV show or documentary or whatever, when I'm sort of shut it down and I go and I'm just chilling, I'm all the stuff that I'm learned from the books I'm reading and the things I'm checking out, I'm seeing all of that stuff in whatever I'm watching, so I'm not, so there's not a time where I'm like, where I shut my mind down and I'm just like, or where I kind of, tune out, or veg out and just kind of, do that. So, sort of to me, but everybody's got to kind of deal with that themselves. It's that learning how to control that internal monologue, that conscious, and really understanding what that is, and there's a lot of explanations for that from a lot of different perspectives. We won't get into all that now, but it's interesting just to contemplate on it yourself without trying to search for an existing framework. Contemplate yourself. Like, what is that? When you have some kind of loop, and most people, if you are, can observe yourself, and you're observed, because part of, like we were saying, you are observing your internal environment, your mental, what's around you. You're more conscious of everything. And you start really looking at, like, well, what is this mental, what is this voice in my head? Like, what is that? Like, what, we would take it for granted, but it's like, wait a minute, what is that really? Like, where is that? It's here and there. And then when you start to notice that there's certain loops that you get into, and it might be hooked in with the visual and the auditory, and you get in these loops, and you have to look at it and say, is this a positive loop for me, or is this a bad loop? And if it's a bad loop, then you got to learn how to change it. But that's where you start to realize how much power we have in terms of, of the mental, in terms of what we think about, what we are obsessing about and seeing and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people, because they have all these negative loops in their mind swirling around, they do things to try to take themselves out of themselves, to alter their state of consciousness through unnatural means, because they can't control this feedback loop that's over and over again. They're worrying about things, or scared of things, the fear loops, the worry loops, the oh man, am I gonna get this and this money? And it's always something that it's like that hasn't happened, and it probably wouldn't happen, but you're still worrying about it. It's still in there. But these folks it's like they've given themselves permission, you know, on Friday night or Saturday night, they're going to go drink and smoke and go party, and they give themselves permission to turn that loop off. So for a few hours, they're not worrying, you know, for a few hours, they don't have that fear, and they're letting go, and they're letting that good feeling that's supposed to always be there, that's at the foundation of the human experience. Now you can, they let that loose. And then, you know, as soon as the morning rolls around and, you know, they're back to that loop again, you know, and then the anxiety pops up now, because now you're getting further and further away from yourself, because you're using unnatural means to experience that kind of joy. And there's going to be some hell to pay for that, and reparations. And so people wonder why do I have these panic attacks and this chronic anxiety and these other mental issues and that kind of stuff. And it's like, you know, and that's just one weekend. You know, what if that's like every weekend for years and years and years you're doing that, and you get to a point where some people, they can't have fun without drinking. You know, they can't have fun without taking some drugs or doing whatever, you know. And and so, but
I feel, to tie in that, because I started drinking at 12, and I got into some heavy stuff at 12, and it was just, you know, my mind's developing, and it became a coping skill that I didn't know I was doing. But through this diet, I start realizing how much you can attract with your mind and your thoughts, and like my vibrations are what's coming towards me back is what I'm putting out. And I started realizing that mucus and pus culture is kind of programming us to stay in to attract this crap to us, just like keep us low, keep us down. And it's like, no, you can, like you were saying, you can physically stop the loop, and you can stop attracting this to you, because it was always like, I'm gonna get out of this hole, and I put myself right back in, because all I knew was, oh, I guess we gotta pop another pill or have another drink. I don't know any different. I don't know. And then have a burger, because now the next day I'm hungry and I want French fries and cheeseburgers, and I'm mad at the world and I'm angry, and you're never gonna get off that train, you know. It's like you're stuck, and that loop is getting louder and louder. So guess what's louder and stronger too? All this bad shit is just coming nonstop. It's like that loop. I like the way you put that. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
And so speaking of that loop, I think that's where the practice of breath, like that's where my friend and I, we had many discussions on how the breath being used as a tool would be able to help just create enough space in that loop to be able to reflect on it. Because without that, you're just in it, in the thought, in the, turn left, turn, like you're just like in that
autopilot type.
Yeah, precisely. So with the breathing aspect, it's like, okay, let me sit with myself, sit with my body. And this is where I connected the breath and the posture, where it's like, you're working on what's now, like what's in your space, or not even in your space, like what's happening, the breath is happening, your body's here, like that thought process. I was just picturing like, okay, like what's real? It's basically like, all right, what's real? And then just looking at, all right, holding my spine up, and then that's already an aspect of taking your attention from feeding into that loop. Like that's already taking attention from feeding into the mind, feeding into the thoughts. Because when you feed it with your attention, that's where it grows. And that's what you're getting at, Dani. Like you're powering it. It's just when you keep engaging with it, so it gets louder. And because you build a stronger bond with it. But if you're creating more space from it, like, okay, let me put energy into my body. right? And we talk about physiological freedom. It's like you put an energy into your body, yourself, your cells, for them to regenerate, not your feedback loop, not your negative feedback loop to
Right.
keep generating, to degenerate you. So like having that, the awareness on the body aspect allows for the awareness of what the breath is doing. So it's like, I think they have a nice relationship with each other to then, okay, let me give myself some space away from those, like that pattern, that negative thought pattern that's like keeping me from accomplishing this or taking this step, and thinking about it and just like focusing on the breath. And then it just allows for a clearer thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That space that you just said, I hope anybody listening, like Q, like, yes, that it starts like a baby, that those little split seconds, it's like a little baby, and before you know it, it's like the vegan Muslim people, it's like, yeah, okay, you start with a weight, before you know it, it's strong as hell. Well,
Right.
Same thing with your seconds of that separate, and it's like, I got peace. It's just, yes, it's good.
Mm-hmm. And then with the diet piece, with the system, that just elevates it. It touches in on what you were talking about with clarity of thought. Now you're just changing. You're transforming. Yeah. Because it's not like it's like you're working on the breath. That's one aspect. Working on the posture, that's another aspect. But then how are you fueling that? And what are you, if our blood is poison, right? Let's just get, like, if we have waste in our bodies and our intestines, and it's poison in the blood recirculating, that's feeding the mind as well. That's feeding the brain. So when we're talking about cleaning that through Eric's systematic way of eating, incorporating the short fast as well, that's where you're changing the way that your body's processing. So it's just cleaner, cleaner thoughts. Yeah.
And giving yourself the opportunity for your mind to transition with your body. Because that's something that the people that want to try to skip over transition and be super aggressive, or like, I'm eating nothing raw but raw fruit and this kind of stuff. There's one of the problems that those folks run into is, they didn't transition their body or their mind. It was like they tried to skip over a whole bunch of stuff, and they were able to create a positive feedback loop mentally that revolved around fruitarianism and raw foodism and that kind of stuff. And so they did that, but physically, that wasn't a sustainable type of situation that they put themselves into physically. So even though they believed and had a positive kind of loop in their head about what they were doing, they were neglecting certain laws, physiological laws that we got to deal with in terms of transition.
Yeah.
And they hate hearing us say that, but until they come.
We're stuck in a culture where nobody wants to work, where what happened to patience? Like it just gone. Like plastic surgery is like the same thing. It's like raw food people. It's like, let's get a nose job. Like let's get liposuction. Like we don't want to go through steps. Cut it off of me out. It's like there's a whole process, and in this process is like the foundation. Like it's so important, and it's like this culture of I want this now, like blink and it's here, and it's like, no, but you don't gain anything from that quick here now. Like I have so many little things that I am just like, yes, like it all the time, that I would have never known if I just would have been like let's go from burgers and dancing to, fruit. I would have died. Probably though.
Yeah.
Thank God I didn't do that, but.
Yeah. And that's, and that's one of the missions that I was on, because I was seeing people doing that. Like literally, they would, one day they're burgers and dancing, like you said. Then the next day it's like, okay, I'm eating nothing but fruit. and it's like that is not gonna work. But they get
like, well, did you what drink do you have, like a drink that you take that? And I'm like, I mean, I drink a lot of juice, but it's like, what's this quick fix? And when I tell people, oh no, like it's been like the universe took me in my own transition without even knowing about Arnold Ehret in the beginning, and then was just like, oh, okay, girl, I think you're ready, and then somehow boop, put in the Arnold Ehret bubble while listening to be able to find his book. And it was all, I tell everybody, like, oh no, like I just stopped with like dairy and kept living my life, and then it was like meat. And this is before the book, though. If I would have had the book, oh man, it would have been so much better, different. But this is the way my path took, and it's like, you know, they don't want to hear that. They just want to be like, oh, it's all or nothing. It's like, no, it's a nice little. You don't fail when now I'm content without this. I can drop another thing, and I can drop another thing.
Right.
And that's how kind of my path took me. Very, you know, and we're so physiologically dirty that it's like, you don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Pick up the book. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Just
That's
pick
it.
Exactly. Just pick up the book.
Because it's like, even if you're not a certain class of like, oh, carnivore or any of that kind of vegan, whatever, the book just has a way of explaining what different foods do to where you can utilize it for your life. Like, you don't have to do what anybody else is doing. It just shows a different perspective that you can explore and find out for yourself if it works. Like, that's
Yeah, I mean, that's all. That's why we're always saying, just check the book out. That's our mantra. It's like, just read the book. Yeah, but what do you eat? Just read the book? Yeah, but what about you fasting and you're talking about, just read the book, and then if you have questions, now we can have some informed discussion, about what's in the book. But what tends to happen, if people, especially, they read the annotated version, they don't have too many questions, or if they do, they're good questions, because they're, we've dealt with all the basics that's dealt with in the book. And so, but yeah, see, Vibe Rational wrote, the mental loop you're speaking of, people who take psychedelics speak of a loop in their heads that can drive them crazy. And would you say this experience is similar? Yeah, because all the drug in that situation is doing, it's heightening that loop, and then if something comes in, and there's something else in their brain or whatever's going on, yeah, that loop, and that's exactly it. It's just the drugs, certain drugs can heighten it, stimulate it, and then if it's a bad loop, it's a bad trip, as they say. And so what's interesting is when you really start to get into the mechanics of that, and you start to realize how easy it is to change. There's and this is stuff I'm getting into now, but it's like you learn how to naturally shift your mind. Now, I used to do this. Like the Sedona method is sort of what I tell people if folks want to study something in this realm of like mental health that I have found combines well with the Mucusless diet. I usually tell people, check out Sedona method, and I got a video about it and that kind of stuff. But it's an interesting discussion, just because Ehret, that's one of the areas where I feel where Ehret, where his discussion on it is not sufficient, and it's not super clear, and it doesn't really, he didn't, in a lot of these other fields, he would bring up the doctors and the research in that time, but he didn't do that with mental health. It's like instead of, because I would have separated, I was like, okay, he talked about faith healing, and that was his criticism for mental health, was more along the lines of like faith healing, but he didn't deal at all with the kind of psychology and that kind of the Freud and Jungian dynamic, and that would have been very interesting. I would have liked to seen a paper of his on that particular topic of what he would have thought about about that, but from my experience, I've found that it's good to have tools, because all it is tools, you know. So it's good, especially when you start fasting. You start, you know, these old emotions are going to come up to the surface, and if you are equipped with some tools to help let go of them and eliminate them, then I think that's a good thing, you know. And so I found, for me, Sedona method worked great, you know, in terms of just letting go of various emotions, and it's a natural process. But what you're really dealing with is there's techniques to change the you know, you got the neuroplasticity, you know, of your brain. You can rewire your mind, you know, and I think that's part of what it does, you know, that particular process, you know, is it's one way to rewire your mind, you know. So, but at the same time, you're letting go of repressed emotions or things that happen to you. You know, you're able to, because a lot of that stuff's going to come up anyway as you get cleaner and as you fast. And so so that was one. But that's not but I always say it's not the only way. I mean, there's a whole list of things that's in this realm, and you know, and they all kind of have their own little pros and cons, you know, whether you're talking about you know, the hypnosis and talk therapy, and like I'm talking about the neuro-linguistic programming and Reiki and certain types of yoga, meditation, and contemplation practices. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff. What I tend to do is I always see these big pictures. So for me, all of that's connected. It's not disconnected. And there's good and bad in all of them, because there's good and bad practitioners in all of them. So if you go to a crappy hypnotist that's you know, that's eating a vegan bucket, and then you come, you know, and then he comes in like, all right, sit, have a seat, all right, you know, all right now,
Hold up.
yeah, hold on a second, you know, all right, now take a deep breath and relax.
Yo, so you're bringing up, you're bringing up an excellent point, because like what you're touching in on is what I like. That's how I see when I'm practicing massage therapy, like trying to work on being clean and a clear, pure channel. Like just like when I'm working and touching on somebody, like I want to already be doing the inner work. Like that's what I've been calling this. Just in my mind, I've been like, all right, like people talk about doing inner work, and it's like, yo, this is like inner, like you inside, like you doing enemas, you eating whether it's you doing the juice or you doing the raw fruit or the cooked fruit, the raw salad, the cooked veggies, like all the different tools you working on the inside. So yeah, what you're getting at though with that practitioner, it's like I'm trying to get away from that. Like just come at it from like, I'm energetic. Like I'm trying to just come like just clean and tuning in to this body that's in front of me. Like, all right, yeah. What do they need? Some people, they'll just say what they want, but like, right. if they're open, if they're like, oh yeah, just I know you'll feel it, or like that kind of thing. It's like, I'm trying to really like feel it and just come to it where it's like, yeah, I do feel it. And I'm, all right, now I'm addressing this. Okay. Yeah. that was a great point there.
Yeah. Cause that's, you know, cause there's so many, you know, it's like, I love checking out the tools, you know, the ancillary therapies. We have a lot of tools, but you don't want to get wrapped up in them. You don't want to, you want to kind of take them for what they're worth, and you know, and use them in a way, like don't obsess about them, you know, or get too, you know, it's like just, there's just a lot of things that can just help us on our path, you know, to help move because it should always come back to the principles. So when I look at ancillary therapy, I like, okay, in what way does this help remove obstruction on some level? And so whether it's if it's hypnotherapy or if it's meditation or if it's whatever it is, massage, certain chiropractics, whatever that is in terms of a tool. And I'm not telling people go do all these. I'm going through my loop of things that for me is all related, but if you gotta, it's one of those things where as we talk about, you get open and you get drawn to what you need at that moment, in that time.
Exactly. Yeah. That when you were saying the different tools, as you said, it's knowing what tool, like say if I have this stiff muscle right here, like, oh man, it's kind of tight up in on my hip area. Like I could use a massage specifically.
Right.
Like I could just move that waist through the muscle or through the lymph. Maybe I'm feeling like I'm kind of clogged up here. Like, can you just like move the lymph here or just, but understanding what the tools do and how that relates to with your body and what you're going through.
Yeah, exactly.
Like bringing like that energy too, like when you get cleaner and you start bringing, that loop becomes slower and your blood's cleaner. And now you the tools come to you as you need them and you can utilize them better than being a scatterbrain with like, oh, how should I fix this? I don't know what to do. Instead, it's kind of like, oh, and then it's just there. That's, what I've noticed. If things are just flowing and they never, it was just all over here. And now it's like, oh, and it's like, boom, oh, okay, I'll use that. And then now you got that in your back pocket and you're like, cool, that helped with that. And then before you know it, oh, look, there's there because you're calm, your mind's calm, you're aware of what's around you and you're attracting these tools to help you, heal.
Right. And you'll notice that I didn't, in all of my just dropping different therapies, I didn't say anything about vitamin therapy because that's usually where everybody goes, in the plant-based and the vegan world. It's like, well, you will get go get this supplement or get this powder and do this and that. And it's like, I didn't say nothing about that. I'm talking about all these various modalities that do what? The one thing they all have in common when done properly is the removal of obstruction on some level. So whether it's a mental level or a physical level, whatever it is, it's movement, getting the circulation moving, which ultimately results in elimination of obstruction. That's so as long as you're coming at it with that mentality, then you're in a better position to really discern what is going to be an effective tool or not. And I think that's a missing thing for a lot of people, why they can't just do which is simple, what we're talking about, just knowing, being first of all, being open to explore a little bit, if that's something that you're into, but to, when we talk about the mucus-free mentality, mindset, that's part of that mindset where I'm always thinking of elimination. Vitality equals power minus obstruction. How can I remove obstruction? That's the difference. That's that principle. That is, it's the game changer. Yeah, it's totally missing.
Because my healing in the beginning of all this years ago, it went from like I'll have turkey burgers instead of burgers. And, I went through all that. And when it got to, it was shoving things in me like the vitamins and these supplements, and it wasn't about eliminating, it was about shoving more crap in to somehow heal me, and that's the missing link, is the elimination. And it's like, wow, once you get that, it's like, oh my god, you're instead, I'm on Amazon buying the next vitamin and this vitamin and B12, okay, and yes, everything. I mean, name a vitamin and I had it, like my whole cabinet. Cool. And it's now I'll take like the thing, like evening primrose oil is just one thing I take. That's it. I haven't let that one go. But my whole thing now is like you said, elimination. It's like, no one talks about that. But here, it's like,
right, just us. Yeah,
and
like
that's the main how you put it. And I'm glad we're expounding upon it. Just where you mentioned it, and I was like, oh, okay, are we gonna move on from talking about the idea of elimination? But then then Danny brought it up again. I'm like, yeah, like let's like park right here for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that idea of just focusing on the elimination. How's the elimination going? What's coming out? And what Danny was reminding me of was Brother Air. He had on his 9.5 month speech where he was saying he went through and you might have went through it too, like seeing the change from the vitamins to the herbs. Like he was saying, like don't take this stuff, like don't take this chemical or the prescription.
Yeah, like back in the 70s when the industry was developing. Yeah, and he was talking about how he watched the industry went from where everybody's into the drugs, and they saw people trying to go into the herbal route and getting into herbology and that kind of stuff, and so then the same people that own the pharmaceuticals was like, okay, well we want their business too, because they're leaving us. So instead of giving them whatever this drug is, we'll just it's echinacea. It's these herbs. Let's just package them and we'll sell them over here. And so we didn't lose any customers. We're still selling. It's the same thing. And that drug mentality. That's why. There's times when I've recommended, and I've worked with people where we do get into herbs and stuff, but I don't recommend. In a lot of cases, I'll have they'll be transitioning or really working with the system for weeks before you don't just jump into the herbs, at least in the methodology that I use, which is kind of a unique. I'd never really published that kind of how I do it, because it's kind of a if you a real fusion of Mucusless Diet with kind of with the Dr. Morris methodology. But it brings in the transition like as part of the whole thing. And so, because I have done a lot of experimentation on myself from the herbs and a lot of different stuff, because that's how I learn about things. And so there's benefits there if you're going through a certain ailment, you're going through a certain thing, but it's not a miracle thing. It's not like there has to be part of a therapeutic system and process. But people don't want that. They want to just take that one thing.
There's profit.
That process.
Yeah, and there's no profit when you're just like, well, eliminate. You're just gonna eliminate. You don't need to buy a thing.
Right.
You still eat, and the eating is part of the elimination.
It's a part of it. Yeah. Like that's a part of the healing system, the Mucusless Diet Healing System part, where it's like. But
they can't make money off that, and they're just like, no, we need you as our customers. Like, what do you mean? You can't buy an enema bag every week. Like, how can we? It's like, don't listen to that. That's rubbish. And it's like, man, it's because you're not making the money. Like, no,
it's in on what you mentioned earlier, Danny, about how you were talking about skipping over the transition, where it's like, and how you picked up in your transition, like you learn every day, like, or you learn moment by moment, however you learn through it. And it's like people want to be clean and be healthy. And I'm looking at different ads that pop up on and I know Professor Spira, like you got the ad blocker, but I'm still with the ads coming through, and I'll see like, oh, this pill, I designed it has the this acid that breaks down the appetite, and then the other, and it's like that's the thing that people are trying to take, but eat exactly how you do. Just you don't have to change anything. You lose weight. You still you just keep eating whatever, but just take this pill like this for life. And it's like I noticed like with my Instagram, because I keep like I do stories on my Instagram where I just like show my process through practicing from time to time. And it's like, that's the work. Like that's the work visually for a practitioner. Like just, it's consistency. How, Brother Air is just like, take consistency, discipline. And it's like, just the work. And them enemas, you practice in the system, repeat, read the book, stay plugged into the community, keep transitioning, keep working. That's the work. That's what it takes to get into it and sustain it. It's just doing it, like just get into it.
And then coming from like a background that I came from, it's like, man, I feel good. I look at and I'm just like, wow, Dani, like today you did this, or wow, you went almost, 5 days, on a juice fast. And it's the growth. And it's, people hold their college degrees and these things of like, it took me 8 years to get this. Oh my God. And it's like, but don't hold it the same, because there's not enough like recognition for, okay, I went through a mucusless diet and I'm this many years in, or I did this. But it's the same gratification of that you've accomplished so much. You're proud. You're doing it. You're getting stronger mentally. It's just, they're missing. Like it would never feel the same if I could just wake up from what I was doing at 25 and now I'm 32. If I could have just woke up, it would never be me. I wouldn't have this foundation in this and just the whole thing. I can't even put it into words that you're missing. Boom,
so what came to mind when you were speaking about the process and again skipping the transition is the process is the lifestyle.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
It's the whole thing.
That's it.
Guys, but you want to get here, like, well then just come take a little trip with me. I'll show you. It's like come on.
Day by day.
It's a good time.
Yeah. And that's it. Because people get so fixated on where's it going? Where's it supposed to go? So I get that question all the time. Like, well, what am I supposed to be eating? Like, where's the, they want the finish line, and it's like
the fireworks.
The firework, yeah. It's like you.
Good, that's good, you.
It's like you missing the point. It's about the journey. That's the thing. The process, the lifestyle. That's the joys of that, the ups and the downs, and the fulfillment of reconstructing your bloodstream, becoming a new person, getting cleaner, elevating yourself, your consciousness, learning. That's all a process. That's all part of the part of the process, And so when people get fixated,
being able to grow up, like it's like being able to reparent yourself, kind of like look at me learning how to walk, so to speak, and now from crawling to walking, now running, and it's just such that this is my growth, this is my transition, and it's amazing. You'd be crazy to want to skip over it, and what are you doing? Like,
right
amazing.
Yeah, it's because it's one of those things where it seems like very simple wisdom that everybody, to me, it feels like you hear everybody say it, but in the mainstream, I guess people still don't really understand that, like kind of what you were saying earlier, Dani, where, the money is not the, that's not where the happiness is going to come from. Because there's plenty of millionaires that have committed suicide from being, going through depressions and hating themselves and thinking that, okay, I get all these millions of dollars, that then I was going to be happy. And then they get that money and they realize, like, I'm actually more miserable now than I was when I didn't have money. And it was like, well, what's going on? And they don't understand, it's not about having it or not having it. It's about you, your body, your cleanliness, your mentality.
It's like it's like money to humans is like cheese to a rat. I mean, you could put that that cheese in the middle of a road, that rat will run out and get ran over. It doesn't care. It's gonna snatch that cheese up. And here it's humans with money. It's like, what do you? But for why? What do you? Where's the money? Where are you going? What are you doing?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, it's just the consciousness. Just a lack of understanding of really having a conversation with yourself. Well, what do you want? Do you and having a clear, like, what do you want? I personally, I want peace. Like, that's been a big goal of mine, is peace. But a lot of people don't want that. They could care less about peace. They want they want all the whatever, all the chaos and stuff. They're addicted to the chaos. But you have to be clear what you what you want. And
maybe all them birthday candle wishes I was making when I was little, it was always like, I just want peace. And it's funny, like, I would eat my cake and I'd have my hot dog, but I was still just this little kid. Like, it was just, I knew that there would be freedom and peace. And it's like, I don't know how to get there. And like, look at all these years later, I'm sitting on a rug, having talks with great people, and I feel peaceful, getting into another fast. And, I just hope anybody maybe just find the podcast and somehow lasted this long too, or just like, wow, I really need to get this book. I need, yes, please.
Yeah. And what I love about doing these whenever we do any live videos, we don't have hundreds of people watching, but the 30 people that watch concurrently watch the whole time. And so that's I'm always happy when I see that, because we got about 30 people watching now live, and it's been pretty consistent. And but
because your podcasts have been taking me, it's the transition is getting, because now I have your videos and I have the podcast, and where I would have just like the white noise or whatever, I can pop my headphones in at work and I'm insulating pipes and I'm doing whatever, but I'm hearing, I'm listening to the conversations and the speaks, and it's like, oh man, like I just bought from the what did you call them, from the Arnold Ehret Day, the talks. What did
the Ehret Day celebration presentations.
Yeah.
Library. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just got those, because it's like, now I have lectures. These doctors and these lawyers, or they go to college. I got these lectures, and it's like, yes, so do I. Like, I can dive deeper, and anybody just keep going into these podcasts and videos, and as you do it, it's like, I don't know, it's a feeling of belonging. It's like all right, here we are, and instead of hearing nonsense, I'm hearing what I want to know, like more about people that are transitioning, what you went through, Brother Air. Like, it's just Q. When I heard with you and Q's podcast, boom, found him on Instagram. Like, what's this guy doing? His whole story really got, and I was like, yeah, more. I need more, and it's something good. It's great. Peace.
Peace.
It's nice.
That's it. And I love to hear that, just because when I always think about the years when there was no one that cared at all about what we had to say. And but that didn't deter me. I didn't care. I was like, I'm gonna put this out here, because this is my truth and what I want to put out into the world. And if it helps one person, I'll be happy. So I'm happy that whenever I hear those stories that people, I'd be surprised when people are like, yeah, man, I fall asleep to your videos and listening to them all day and stuff, and going through.
Straight up, man.
That's cool.
That was me. That was definitely like, because it's like, when I get into a subject, that's where I'll just bathe in it. Like, if I was picking up music, it would just be, but with the guitar, like Jimi Hendrix on while I'm cooking, or like that kind, just, and now he's on when I'm in the bathroom, or like just everywhere I'm at. I'm in the car, I got YouTube on, just playing while I'm driving. So definitely getting into the mucusless diet, that was just on, like, that's just what channel I'm on. Like, I was listening to Mucus-free Life, and then I would be on the more tip, like learning more about his take on the lymphatic and that sort of that vibe, to get just a holistic view. Like now I'm looking into health and I'm looking into these different natural foods. So yeah, man, like I was totally just, that was on repeat. Just yeah.
I need to one of these days, I might have to do it, because I almost did it last year, and then I don't remember what kept me from doing it. But what I want to do with this, with all the old radio shows, because I have this big archive of radio shows that we did from 2006 to 2009. We had a live radio show on it was the 88.3 FM in Cincinnati. It was like a community radio station. So we had the Immortality Pipeline. There's a couple of like clips from them that's on the YouTube channel from back in the day. But there's like hours and hours of stuff on there. And what I want to do is create like a 24-hour radio, online radio channel that just basically just streams these episodes all just all day.
And your music. And
the music will be in there. Yep, and the music. I want
to hear more of that too. Like I remember the one podcast you mentioned that, and I'm like, yeah, do that. Like I want to hear Q's music, I want to hear your music, I want to hear all.
The whole thing, because one of the things about those radio, back there was a period when I was gonna start posting some of them up, but then every time I'd listen to an episode, it was always it was more hardcore than I even wanted to put on the stage, because we were so unfiltered on the radio program. We just was like, so there'd be things that come up and be like, this might not be helpful right now for people. They had to confuse people or get people mad, so let's wait on this. But I think that'd be a good format on the just on a radio where it's not on demand. It's just broadcasting, so you just got to catch it, And but the music, just the whole thing. But that's what we're trying to do. Is we've been trying to just build brick by brick, building this community, the vibration, with the people, and it just takes time. And like you're saying, the patience. Most people don't have that kind of patience. They want to try to, it's got to be popular. We got to do it right now. And I never went after that. I just went after the quality of the information and the people, and just try to every time we take a step, it's a permanent step. It's a good step. It's not because there's some of these plant-based communities have come and gone in the span of these few years, and they and some of them, they come and they're really popular. They just super popular. They got some kind of charismatic leaders at the front, and it's all like but then and you think and if you're in the midst of it, you think like, well, this will never fall apart. This is gonna, but what ends up happening is they fall apart for various reasons. But it's always, and some kind of mucus gets involved and it falls apart, and and so that's one reason why we never wanted to really rush things. Like we talk about, I invite people to check out Dylan's presentation on the Earth ships and the Arid Village. These are all things we've talked about for years, that it's gonna happen, but it's got to happen right. We don't want to rush it, and it's got to be the right circumstances and the right people involved to make these things happen. And the more that we come together like this and have the community happening, is it's gonna be good. It's gonna happen, and so
yeah, and it's happening.
It is. It's happening.
Yeah.
It's as we envisioned, and the more that we. It starts off with a couple people with the vision and doing the work, and then now, you share the vision, other people get it, they contribute their thing, and then you build a community. It's just, it's how it happens. And so like I have said for a long time, we're the founding fathers and mothers of the next thing, of the next human society, nation. It has to be, because this chaos and nonsense out here is unsustainable. The pus and mucus thing is unsustainable, and it's destined to fail and to fall apart. So we'll do our part trying to share, and as many people want to come in this direction as possible before it gets uglier out there with the chaos. Then we'll be able to go protect ourselves while the pus and the mucus is gonna kind of take, at some point is gonna take itself out. That kind of thing is very real, and so it's this is the time period where we putting the information out there, making it easily available, but the day is going to come where we all sort of relocate somewhere else, and boom, and the craziness is going to have to just do whatever it's going to do, because it's,
yeah. I just picture, I want to say like Armageddon, but like food fight edition.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much that. I mean, that's what it is now. And people, they, like I said, I had predicted the riots in a video in March, and no one believed. People didn't even want to believe me, and so we're like, oh yeah, he's just talking. I'm like, I was pretty accurate, because I said the riots are coming. The looting is coming, and I predicted around June, July, and it happened at the end of May. And I didn't know what the trigger was going to be, but I knew what was coming, just based on history and the logic of the moment. But people were really in denial about what's happening, and then and the theories get going. It's like, look, pus and mucus eating. That's all you need to know. It's like that's the explanation. It's like, well, why are they doing this? They did that, and this guy did this, and they did that. It was like pus and mucus. I mean, that's the it's like because mucus. That's the answer. And you're like,
and just like where
ahead.
You're bringing up we were speaking about earlier with the poisons. If you're poisoning your body, poisoning your mind, it's just like, what do you expect? Like so Jim Rohn, I would study him. He was Tony Robbins' teacher, and then before him was Earl Schoaf. So like from Jim Rohn, he was saying someone comes up to him, or someone comes up to his group and goes, yeah, like I wanna touch people. I wanna be inspirational. I wanna inspire people, or I wanna be a leader. It's like, all right. So the first thing they go to check that person out is their library. And he was saying, he's like, why are you checking their library? Well, it's like the information you consume, what you consume creates they're the ingredients in your mental factory. That's what he said. So when you get into the food, it's like that's the ingredients to your physiological factory. What's what's coming out, that's what's from coming in.
Yeah. So that'd be like, going in someone's kitchen and their refrigerator and pantry, and so what we touching it like with the physiological liberation time, like getting into that, where this is that crucial moment, like how you would put it, Professor Spira, like that opportunity, like that great opportunity for people to really plug in and spend time learning the system, getting into it, taking care of their bodies, just changing it up. And that's where it's like, all right, you trying to lead this movement, you out here like in the different movements, like, all right, we going straight to your kitchen. Like, all right, let's see, open up the cabinets. Yeah, I'm sorry, we got to toss that. We could sweat. Like Dinty Moore
it's like
beef
home
stew.
makeover.
What is this? The whole makeover.
Yeah.
Like that kind of.
It's like, you got the salt thing. Nah, we got Dulce Flakes. We put in kelp flakes.
Yeah, you did. Well, I was gonna say, was that mucus-free eye for the pus guy? That'd be a good program. We show up and we go directly to people's kitchens and we're going through it and we're just looking at we say Pop-Tarts. Okay, throwing that away. It was like Hot Pockets. Wait a minute, expired 2013. Why is this still in here? Like, well, I was gonna eat that.
Still good.
Right, it's still good. It was frozen in there.
I could see that for real though. Like I feel like at least on the Mucus-free Life channel.
Yeah,
or
we
just
could
in that
produce like
field,
something like that.
Someone trying to transition.
Yeah,
all right, we like that'll be our version of that reality show. Yeah, just we going to their house. What's
right.
that?
Yeah, knock. Yeah, we got we walking in with boxes of lemons, oranges. We got like a citrus juicer, and we walking in. Be like, it's like
the real test is when you bring up the enema bag. People be like,
oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that'll be like at a certain part in the episode where there'll be some music that starts to be like, dun, 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 that'll be like, okay, they're gonna bring up the enema part now.
Yeah,
and
you like those stewed, you like the applesauce, huh? Like that early afternoon fruit meal. You was digging that evening veggie meal, just the stewed spinach with the raw like carrots, cabbage. That's cool. It's like, I loved it. Like, all right, so we gonna take this enema bag. We gonna have you.
We
got some lemons.
What time it is? You're like, what do you do? What is that? What's that for?
I had my cousin ask me today. She was like, but what did you do to detox? Like, what were you just kind of asking me something? And I was like, well, girl, I got this enema bag. And she's like, a what? And I'm like, I irrigate water in my bum. And she's like, it was just like, no. And I'm like trying to make it like, no, really, it's not, just with a grain of salt, like just take the, and I mean, every time I mention enema bags, everyone they're like done with me. Like, I don't, what, if she puts water where? You're like, that's not, and I'm like, no, trust me, it's and then I lose them every time.
Yeah,
the enema bag. It's when you see what comes out, you're gonna be happy.
That's it. Like, but it does take that, and at least from what I've seen, and I just want to connect. Like Professor Spira had a video where he was giving a sort of lecture, and pulled out the enema bag. It was a fresh one, and was like, yo, and he was like, the some of the homies are kind of like, whoa, like what you like I ain't doing no enema, like what, but like he brought up the comparison of, okay, so would you rather go to the hospital, have them cut you open up these intestines, and then dump out these worms, and then Professor has a video of like some ill video of like worms coming out of an intestines, like crazy. And or can we settle this with eating some fruits and vegetables, maybe a little mucus-lean, whatever, but then incorporating an enema bag of some water, some lemon juice that removes a lot of sticky waste up in there. Just what do you choose? And like, what's more rational? That was the point. It was like, all right, what would you rather do? Just give those extremes.
Yeah, and they did. Yeah, when you break it down, like, and then they get kind of quiet and they're thinking about it, like, he's got a point. I don't like the point, but he's got one.
The what they call colostomy bags, like that, like literally, you're gonna have a bag. You're gonna have like hanging out you, or you can put on some nice fine music and do this in the bathroom with yourself, you know, like, or everyone's gonna smell your bag hanging out your gut. It's like, I don't.
Yeah.
But it's like until they're there, literally at the operating table, they're like, "Oh, damn! Should have listened to them folks on that podcast.
Yeah,
shouldn't have laughed at their empty bag."
Right. I mean, and that's the thing, you know, that we get a lot because, I mean, even something, as I forget the number, I should commit that to memory. Whatever the yearly, the cases of, you know, colon cancer and just that kills. It's a huge number of people that die of that, you know, pus and mucus poisoning, but that's the concentration of where the problem is. And if to us it makes all the sense in the world, but by the time it gets to that point with the folks that go through that, it's like, that was unnecessary, you know, now you're dead, you know, and you didn't even have to, you know, be the same people, like I said, that made fun of us for, you know, a little bit of water, a little bit of lemon juice up the colon, as opposed to, because once you start going down that road, they're messing with you anyway. So now all the, you know, colonoscopy. So you want a doctor to put a video camera up your butt and take a look around. So that's okay, because it's a doctor. But you don't. Yeah, exactly. The doctor is God.
They know
incarnated.
Everything. Come on.
You know, right. But if you were to just do some enemas to clean that out so that you don't have to have a videotape of inside of your colon done.
Selfie, the new selfie. Colonoscopy. Check out my colon, guys.
Somebody's done that on Facebook. Group. That's funny. That would be yeah, like somebody's had to have done that, like made their profile picture like the inside of their colon. There's a, you know, and they got a colonoscopy. It's like, what is that? It's like, oh, that's just I just got back from my colonoscopy. And,
Stop.
Yo, you mentioned you had your webinar on the e-course. That was earlier today. How was that rocking?
Oh, they were really good. Yeah, that was I'm sorry for, it was a couple people looked like they were confused. They thought that this was going to be that, and it was like, no, we had the Q&A session for people, e-course students, that people enrolled in the e-course. So that was at 1:00, and then people that couldn't make it, they could sign up and they'll get the replay of it. It was basically, he just submitted questions and I answered a lot of questions, and talked a little bit about I'm working on a webinar, a menu planning webinar. So we talked about that a little bit and actually went through a couple of my menu plans and that kind of thing. But yeah, it went really good. It's been a while since I did one of those, so it was cool just to kind of get back in that mode. Yeah. And
that meal planning, that sounds like the mucus-free eye for the pus guy, like with that's like one aspect.
Yeah, that would be
the meal. You got the meal planning webinar.
Yeah, you sit down with them and you go through like the consultation. It's kind of like they do in the show. You'd be like, okay, well, what's your schedule look like? You know, give me just a rundown. What time do you get up in the morning? Like, okay, well, what time do you usually eat lunch? Okay, what time do you have dinner? You know, and then you teach them how to construct a plan that's based on the transition diet, based on the principles of Mucusless diet, but you can take those principles and write out a plan that fits into your day on whatever your situation is. Because I've made a number of menus for people that work like third shift and had really unique sort of, you know, sleeping habits and that kind of stuff. But all we did was like, okay, well, doesn't matter. You just fit it into your situation.
Yeah. So, have you ever written one for yourself?
Yeah, but I have, but I don't follow them. That's one reason that when I made them, I noticed that people I was working with needed them, and so that's when I started kind of making some of these kind of menu plans, because there was a lot of people that needed that kind of structure, whereas I don't operate in that type of way. I'm more I'm more groove oriented. When I find something that works and I find that groove, then I can wear it out. Like, I don't get bored or tired of what works. And so, I kind of find my groove and can wear it out. But, but
would you say would you say someone would need to work up to that, or how would you, yeah.
What do you mean need to work up
to being groove oriented? Would you say like that's something that someone would get into, or the schedule would just kind of be their mode?
I think that really depends on the person, because I wouldn't say it's not necessarily a goal, like you have to use it or not use it. It's just another tool at our disposal if you want to use it or not use it.
Like a protocol, huh?
Yeah, I mean, because I think there's some people that the way that they operate better with a lot of structure, and so for that type of person, that's where having everything kind of written out is very useful, helpful for them. Especially in the beginning, because it's kind of like the training wheels. You just know when you got to do this and that, and after a while, I mean, you're going to internalize it. You do it long enough because it becomes a habit, and so that's what you want you eventually get to that level of knowing, sort of knowing those things. But we incorporate more than in that plan. We're incorporating more than just what you're eating and when. We're also incorporating the exercise, like when doing the exercise, preparing if you have to go to work, that's worked in, preparing your juices, preparing your salads and your meals for later on. All of that's taken into account.
Yeah.
When you do your enema, and the way that I construct the menus, the actual written plans is there's multiple options, and so you'll have the initial like option 1, but then there's an option 2 and an option 3. So it's 1 week worth of plan, but it could actually be expanded to several weeks, because you could work and mess around with the options and really turn it into a totally different plan within the one. So, but that's just how I kind of construct them. So that's something I do want to teach more of, that because it's one of those things that came to me naturally, and I thought that it should come to other people naturally, but as I work with people, I noticed that it didn't. And even if I talked about it, sometimes you think you can just talk about something and people pick it up, and they weren't. And so that's when I was like, okay, let me write this out and actually show you what I'm talking about. Then they're like, oh yeah, and they really liked it. They're like, yeah, this was, wow, I see what you were saying, So I want to teach that. I would rather teach people how to do that, and then instead of making hundreds and thousands of menu plans for different people, I'd rather teach everybody how to do it, and just kind of deal with it like that.
And I know with the meal planning, I think it's cool just that you'll be elaborating more on it, because I know you touched in on it on the, like when you sign up for the insider on the Mucus-free Life, it's like getting the recipes. So then I got to learn. I think whose grape lemonade was that? Was that you? On the recipes, the 5 recipes you gave out.
Yeah.
It was Bro Air's apple lemonade.
Brother Air's apple lemonade. Yeah.
And you had the grape juice, huh?
Yeah.
Like the
the grape.
So then I got
lemon. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to pick up snag a couple of those ideas, and then that meal planning idea formulation as well, how to get into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for putting that out.
Yeah, most definitely. So I think we'll probably wrap it up here, as I'm sure we could keep on talking for hours as usually. It's not hard for us to where we look up and be like, oh, it's a meetup starts at 8:00 in the evening, and then be like, oh well, okay, it's 8:00 in the morning. It's like there's some of them meetups have been like 12-hour long meetups, and people come in and out, so it's not but there's sometimes there'd be people there for the majority of that time. And so those are, people don't know, there's every Wednesday there's a meetup that starts at 8:00 Eastern time, and it's free, but you be a member of the Insiders Club, and if you get into the Arnold Ehret Facebook group, we post up the links to join in, so you are welcome to come in. If you pray, it's good to it's a good group. You practice the diet. Sometimes when people come in and they haven't read the book yet, that's not a good idea. You don't want to come to that group trying to learn the basics, because you'll get like 12 people telling you to just go read the book. And so, but outside of that, because people come in like, I don't think this isn't really good for beginners. Like, well, it's really no. You're right. It really wasn't made for beginners. It's made for people that are practicing the diet as a lifestyle, and we accept everybody of all levels. But yeah, if you haven't read the book, you will definitely be told to read the book a bunch of times. And
that's a good step.
Yeah.
Like that's what you need to learn. Like that, or that was your lesson in the joining.
Right.
Of the Mucus-free meetup. Like,
right.
Oh, all right, cool. Read the book. Like, other people learn some about what they're eating or their transition. It's like, for you.
Yeah. For you.
Hey, check the book out.
Yeah, right. Read the book. And so.
A couple times. Read it a couple times.
Yeah. Read it a couple times and keep reading it, and, listen to the audiobook version and read it, and, hit it all from different angles. And really immerse yourself into the information, and being open, coming at it with an open mind, and trying not to force fit all these other things into the Mucusless diet, because that's a problem right now, is folks really wanting to try to like, oh, that's kind of like this other thing, and what about this? And it's like, no, it's not really like that other thing. Just read the book. Read a book. You'll see it's not like that. On the surface it might seem like it is, but it's really not. And because coming to the book with all these other dogmas and all that stuff, it's like it's a practice in letting go of all that, and just seeing where you can really take the information. Because it's one of those things where it is hard to, because it's so profound, and people hear how we're talking about it and they think that it's almost kind of like, why are they talking about it like that? Like, what is it? Why is it so, and then they read it and they're like, oh, I see. Okay. They either get real excited or real quiet. You don't hear from them again, or they call you immediately. It's usually one of those two. Rarely will you get somebody that has no opinion or no reaction at all. It's gonna they either disappear off the face of the planet, or you get a respectful call, an excited call, like, I see what you're saying. And so I want to thank. I don't know if Reece, you still on here? Does your camera work? See, you're still. Still on the.
Yeah, I'm still on, but I'm not in the position to have the camera on right now.
Oh, okay. So we're saying our goodbyes here. So I wanted to plug back in with you and say thanks for
being
on
I
here.
appreciate you guys' conversation. It was a good one, really informative.
Yeah, most definitely. And I want to thank Tobin, who was on earlier. You know, he had some, I think, some video issues, and we had Ziggy on also, and he also had some video issues. But I appreciate everybody participating, coming on here. I think this was a lot of fun, and I think we will do this again. You know, I like this was good, and so keep it rolling, and then you guys out there, be sure to share the video and like the video. It helps us get this word out, and you know, spread the mucus-free vibration. So yeah. And I want to thank Dani for coming on. This was great meeting you, getting a chance to.
Thank you. All of you. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. And hear
Word up.
your story, and I look forward to hearing more, because I can tell there's more. You got some stories to tell. So that's definitely cool. And my man Q, you know, I always appreciate you. You know, your energy, and just helping us just take everything to the next level. That's what this period's about. We just gonna keep elevating, keep taking things to the promised land, as they say.
Yeah.
And so,
Yup. Thank you for having me. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
most definitely. So, all right, brothers and sisters. So this has been the 22nd episode of Mucus-free Life Podcast. So I thank you all for tuning in. Tell a friend to tell a friend that mucus-free is the way to be. And until next time, peace, love, and breath.